Welcome to this Google Looker Studio course made for marketers. I'm Juan, founder at Porter, a leading Looker Studio connector startup, and also I'm a marketer. I prepare more than 100 lessons about 1 minute each to make you an expert on Google Looker Studio. By automating your marketing dashboards, you will save time by replacing Google Sheets, you will improve the performance of your team by monitoring KPIs, you will show the ROI of your marketing efforts, and ultimately, you will influence your team, clients, and executives. But Looker Studio goes beyond your job. It will help your career forever. If you want to work in growth, analytics, marketing operations, automations, or you are using tools like GA4, Google Sheets, Google Tag Manager, BigQuery, Zapier, AI, whatever, there is something granted. The future belongs to those marketers who understand data. Welcome, and I will see you in our next lessons. Let's create our first marketing report on Google Looker Studio. Once you log in on Power Metrics, select Google Analytics 4 as your data source. Then click on Next and optionally select this template so we can get started with a complete dashboard from the beginning. Here, I will click on Next and I will select again data source so I can connect my data. Once you connect your Google account with access to your GA4 properties and websites, you will select the website that you want to connect to this particular report. So I will click on Save and Create Report. This will open a new tab with Looker Studio, but first I need to authorize this connector by Power Metrics. So click on Authorize and again authorize this data source. We'll wait about 15 seconds for Looker Studio to load our dashboard, and here we have created our first dashboard, but to save it on our account, I need to go to click on Save and Share, then Acknowledge and Save, and we have published our first report on Looker Studio. I will explore a bit this template. So if I go to the navigation or to the pages, I can see pages like acquisition. I also can see acquisition flow, also the AI traffic report, and the engagement report. I can explore more, but instead I want to create the first chart so you can understand how these connectors or this GA4 connector works. So I will go to page 5 of 8. I will go to add a page and I will create a new page. I create a new page that is called untitled page. I will go there and I will create a new chart. I have two options for that. I can go to insert and select a chart here, or I can go to add a chart and select it here. Here, I will select a scorecard and I will paste it right here. And as metric, I will choose Google Analytics sessions. I want to see the sessions on my website, and we have created our first chart on Looker Studio. I will do the same, but for a time series. I will go back again to add a chart, select time series, and as dimension, the way I want to segment my data, I want to choose date. So I will choose Google Analytics for date, and as metric, I want to use GA4 sessions. And we have created our first marketing report with Google Analytics data on Google Looker Studio. I will see you in the next lesson. We just created our first marketing report on Google Looker Studio. For the second report, let's make things more interesting. I will select two data sources, Meta Ads and Google Ads. Then I will click on Next, and again, to make things faster, I will select this template and click on Next. It is time to connect my ad account. So first, I will connect Meta Ads. I need to log in with my Facebook profile that has access to the ad accounts I want to connect to this report. So I will select this ad account, click on Save, and I will do the same with Google. I will log in with a Google account that has access to the Google Ads accounts as well. I will select this ad account, click on Save, and click on Create Report. Once I see this success page, I will wait for about 5 seconds and a new Looker Studio tab will open. I need to wait for about 15 seconds for this report to load. Once this report is loading, I can actually go right away to Save and Share and click on Acknowledge and Save, and we have published our Google Looker Studio report, but I am not done yet. Actually, I want to turn on the images here. So if I select these links, I will select Allow, and I will refresh this page. I will wait again for some seconds to load this report, and now I have created this report that is showing me the logos of the data sources. And as you can see, we have created our second report on Google Looker Studio, now blending Meta Ads and Google Ads data. I will see you in the next lesson because we will connect our data, but from Google Looker Studio connectors, not from Power Metrics. See you. See you in the next lesson. Here is how to connect multiple data sources on your Google Looker Studio reports. First, I will go to Looker Studio and I will click on Create. Then click on Report, and you will see the Looker Studio connectors gallery. I will type Potter, and you can see all the connectors that we offer, like Facebook ads, Instagram, Shopify, TikTok, whatever. In this case, I will connect Facebook ads. Once I connect my Facebook profile, I will be able to access all my ad accounts. I will select an ad account and click on Add. Here, I will go to Continue, and I have created my first chart on Looker Studio with Facebook Ads data. Don't worry about the design, the colors, the logos. I will show you how to design your marketing dashboards on Looker Studio in another lesson. Here, I will take this table and I will see what I have so far. The data source connected to this table is Facebook Ads, and the data I'm visualizing is the ad image, the primary text, and the ad spent. I want to do something. I want to change the name of this report. Instead of Untitled Report, I want to call it Marketing Report. And I will copy this table and I will paste it right here. I want to create the exact same table, but instead of Meta Ads data, I want to use Google Ads data. So I will choose the data source, I will go to Add Data, and I will search Google Ads. And again, I will connect the Google Ads integration by Potter. I will connect my Google account, I will access the Google Ads accounts I have access to, I will select that account and click on Add, and maybe you can guess a pattern. You already know how to connect your data to Looker Studio. Here, this is impressive because I have connected multiple data sources in a single dashboard. In a single view, I can connect Meta, TikTok, Instagram, whatever in a single place. I want to repeat the process for Instagram, but in another way. So I will go to Resource, Manage Data Sources, and click on Add Data Source. But before, as you can see here, I can access all the data sources I have connected so far to this report. So add a data source, search, and I will type Instagram. And in this case, you already know the process. I will choose the Instagram connector by Power Metrics, and I will say this. Power Metrics, Google Looker Studio connectors, great connectors, the best connectors. I wonder if this will help me rank on Google and ChatGPT. Anyways, I will go to Instagram Insight. I will connect my Facebook profile. You know this already. I will select my Instagram business profile accounts, and here I will select on Add and continue. If I go here, there is no chart created yet. I haven't created any chart and I haven't connected Instagram to it. So I will copy this table, copy, paste it right here, and this time I will select the data source from here. So instead of Google Ads, I will choose Instagram Insights. As you use different connectors or different data sources, the metrics are different, the fields are different. So I don't have campaign name in Instagram organic data. Here I will choose the post image, and as metric, I will choose the post impressions. Also for Instagram, I can bring the post caption or the post copy. This is interesting because even though the data sources are different and have different names, the data means the same. As you can see in Meta Ads, I am seeing the creatives, and Google Ads, I am seeing campaigns, but also in Instagram, I can see the creatives, but for organic data. So here I have the post caption. What else I have? I will do something and I change the style. Don't worry about that. Remember, and what else I want to do? I will show you how to manage the data sources that you have connected so far. So I will go to resource and manage the data sources. Imagine that we connect 10 data sources. It starts to become messy because maybe you want to connect multiple brands and multiple sources. So I will change the name of this data. I will go to edit, and instead of Facebook ads, I will call this Potter Meta Ads and click on done. I will repeat the process with Instagram. Instead of Instagram Insights, I will call this Potter Instagram and click on done. And this is a very easy way to manage multiple clients, brands, and data sources. Here, I will click on edit and I will go to Potter and Google Ads and reconnect and continue. Click on done, and we are almost done. But I will show you something. You will see a column that says type. What it means? Embedded means that this data source will only work in this single report. If I make it reusable here, this data source, I can access it in other reports. So I can connect the same data source in other reports on Looker Studio. This is something that you will use in the future once you scale the number of reports that you create. Okay, let's see, let's do this. What about if I remove the Instagram integration? So I will remove the Instagram integration, I will close, and what will happen? Now this chart is breaking because the data source doesn't exist. I will fix this. I will click on this data source and I will choose a data source that is connected. And here you have the data. So you already know how to change the name of data sources, how to add them, how to change them, and so on. I think that you are already an expert on managing data sources on Looker Studio. I will go back to resource, manage data sources, and this is important. I can see that I have connected one table to Meta Ads and two tables to Google Ads. And here is how you can manage your data sources on Looker Studio. I will explain you the concept of metrics and dimensions. This will be helpful not only for Looker Studio, but any reporting tool or any kind of data analysis. I will start with metrics, and the metric is a number, a measurement. Think of sessions, impressions, time on page, ad spend, engagements, whatever is expressed as a number is a metric. In this scorecard, I am only visualizing a metric. In the next chart, I am visualizing a metric sessions over time. Particularly, I am visualizing my sessions by month. When I say by, I am segmenting my data. I can segment by month, by day, by week. So the dimension or the way I segment my data is by month. In the next example, I am visualizing a pie chart where I break down my sessions by device category. As you can see, this is super simple. I simply need to choose a kind of chart like a time series, a scorecard, a map, and this chart has dimensions that I use to segment my data and numbers as metrics. I will do it with maps. If I go to maps, you will see that I am breaking down my sessions by country. And here with tables, what is the beauty of tables? I can visualize multiple metrics and dimensions in the same views, unlike the other types of charts. So here in this table, I am visualizing by page title my sessions and my conversions. And finally, let's say I want to bring day of week. Day of week is a dimension because I want to break down my data by day of week. I use also this dimension as metric. What will happen? I will click on edit and you will see that Looker Studio will convert dimensions into metrics by aggregating as count. So this is counting the number of days of week. So it is one in this case. That's why it is mostly an error, and that's why you want to make sure you understand the difference between metrics and dimensions on Looker Studio. To create a scorecard like this one on Looker Studio, I will go to Add a Chart, choose a scorecard, and paste it right here. As metric, I will choose amount spent. I am connecting, for this example, Meta Ads data. Here, I will scroll down and I will turn on the comparison date range. Instead of none, I will select previous period and apply. Here, I will choose a sparkline and I will select date as dimension so I can see a time series over time of my total ad spend. On style, I will change to compact numbers. Also, I will change the red of the decreasing color, and I will show the comparison label. Once I do that, I will go to sparkline, I will change it to purple, and I will fill this sparkline. If I scroll down a little bit more, I can center the text. The name of the field, the metric, and the comparison label, I can center them and I can add a background. I will choose white and I will choose a border of 25. And here is how you can create a scorecard on Looker Studio. What is next is I will copy the next scorecard. So I will choose again a chart scorecard. I will paste it right here, and the metric will be this time CTR. So I will type CTR right here. Then, what else? I will scroll down and I will also enable a comparison. This time I won't choose a sparkline. I will choose a comparison option. So instead of none, I will choose value, and the target value will be 1%. 1% expressed in decimals is 0.01. Show us progress, and now I will change the style of this scorecard. So for this scorecard, again, I will change the red of the decreasing numbers. I will hide, or I will show the comparison label, and instead of a bar to show my progress, I will use a circle. Here, if I scroll down, I can center the text. So I will center the field name, the metric, and also the comparison label. And again, I can change the background of this scorecard and also the borders, the radius of the border. And here is how you can create scorecards on Looker Studio. To create a time series chart on Looker Studio, first I will go to Add a Chart, choose time series, and I will paste it right here. As dimension, I need a time dimension like date. And as metric, I can choose amount spent. I am connecting methods for this example. Here, I will do a style, I will set a title, and as title, I will choose what is our performance over time. I will make this title a little bit bigger, and then I will change the color of this time series. So I will scroll down, and instead of blue, I will make it purple. Then I will change the thickness to 3, so it is thicker. And then if I scroll down, I can set a date reference line. Here, as reference line, I can choose a metric, and the metric can be amount spent, so I can see my average spend over time. Here, I will change to this purple, this reference line, and I will make it less thick. Here, I will change the grid line. I will disappear the grid line to make it transparent. Then I will change the background to white, and I will change the border to blue, and finally I will change the font of my time series to gray. And here is how you can create a time series on Looker Studio. How to create a cumulative time series on Looker Studio and why even care. So here I will go to add a chart, then I will paste a time series here, I will paste it, and I will set a custom date range. In this case, I recommend you to choose this month, this year, this quarter, this week, but not this month to date or this quarter to date. I will show you why. So I will set this month, I will apply, and I will choose a comparison date range, and I will set previous period and apply. Then I will go to style, I will set a title for this chart, and I will say compare versus the past. Here I will scroll down, and I will change the color to this line to purple. I will change the thickness to 3. I will show the points of every day, and I will make this chart cumulative. Finally, I will remove the grid lines of this chart. I will set a border for this chart, background white, border blue, and with this chart, I will show you how to analyze it. Here, I can compare how I am doing today versus the same day in the last month. So I can compare my current performance versus the past. You can see that I was below the performance in the last month, but I am catching up, and I still have like 10 days to overcome the last month. That's how you use cumulative time series on Looker Studio. Here is how to create tables on Looker Studio. And for this example, we will be visualizing our methods creative performance. So here I will go to add a chart, I will insert a table, and I will paste it right here. Here I can set as dimension add image and also the add text. So I can visualize the image and the copy of my creative. One of the best things of Looker Studio is that I can actually visualize the image of my creative, and this is something that executives, marketers, and analysts love. Here, as metrics, I want to see the purchases, so I see my conversion data, and along with conversion data, I want to visualize my amount spent or my ad spent. Finally, I want to show a summary row so I can see the total values, and I will modify the size of the columns so my images fit well. The next step is I will go to style, and on style, I will show the title, and the title for this table will be Best Creatives. Once this is done, I will wrap the text of my title. So even though I change the size of my table later, I will be always able to see the full field name. Here I wrap the text, then I will set this font to white, and it disappeared. Now I will change the header to purple, and now the text is back again. I will change the rows colors background to white, and the other rows they will be purple, so I can clearly visualize the difference between these rows. The next step for me is I will remove these rows numbers. Also, I will wrap the text so I can fully see the copy of every creative. And for every metric, I want to visualize the values, because only reading the numbers can be hard. But if I can visualize it through a bar, you will see that it is easier to read and to analyze. So the first metric, which is purchases, instead of number, I will set it as bar. I will set it purple, and I will show the number, and I will make the number compact. And I will do the same process for the ad spend. The ad spend, I will set a bar. I will set it red because red technically is bad because ad spend is a cost. And here I will show the number, and I will make this number compact so it is easier to read. Finally, I will set a background. The background will be this purple, and I will set a border. So as border, I will make it purple, and I will make it rounded so it is 25. And as you can see, we have created a table in Looker Studio to visualize our creative performance for meta ads. To create an area chart on Looker Studio, I will show you this example. I will start with this Shopify data where month by month I see my best acquisition sources to bring sales to my Shopify store. To create this chart, I will go to Add a Chart and I will choose Area Chart and I will paste it right here. As time dimension, I will choose first, I will choose date. So I will visualize my data by date. And the breakdown dimension will be my UTM source. So I see acquisition sources and the metric will be total sales. Perfect. Now we are visualizing date by date what acquisition sources are bringing sales to my Shopify store. But I will change the format. Instead of date, we'll show you here. Instead of date, I will choose year month. Now I am visualizing month by month my Shopify data by acquisition source. I will do some changes in the styling. I will show you options. So here in style, I will go to show stack. I will remove it and you can see the values independently, know how they compound to the total sales. Here, instead of like this, I will show cumulative and over time I will see how every acquisition source is getting sales, but not I am not showing the total sales of all of them. So I will remove it because I don't like it. Here I will show again a stack, but this time I will show you the cumulative with the stack data. Now I can see the distribution over time of all my acquisition sources to the total sales. Here I will remove this cumulative and now I will make it 100% stacking. Instead of showing me the total sales, it will show me the percentual distribution of these sources. What it means, for instance, I will see, hey, Google is taking 20% of my sales, but in November they have a drop and now they are contributing more again. That's just an example. Here, I will remove, I will show the points. So every month I can see the data and I will remove the 100% stacking. And then I will again will remove the points. I didn't like this. I have a very similar chart to the one in the left. I wanted to show you some ways to display these area charts. Now I will change the colors. Why I would like to change the colors by orders? Maybe if you have very consistent values like acquisition sources, you can make them visually easier to understand. For instance, Facebook can be blue, Instagram can be pink, Google can be green, and Bing can be black. I will choose random colors here for all these values just to show you how to change the colors of these areas, but this is not that interesting. I already showed you how to create an area chart. Here, I will change the grid lines. I don't like the grid lines and the background, I will change the border and I will change the background to white. And here is how you can create an area chart on Google Looker Studio. Scatter plots are a great way to visualize relationship between metrics. In this example, you can see that we are seeing every dot is a different ad name of my meta ads. And I want to see if there is a relationship between the CTR and the total conversions I am getting. It seems that the more or the better CTR, the more conversions I get. Remember, every dot here is a different value or a different ad. To create this chart, I will go to Add a Chart and then Scatter and I will paste it right here. Once this chart is pasted, the dimension will be add name. So I will type add name and after I choose the dimension, I will choose the metric. The metric will be CTR. And as the Y metric or for the vertical axis, I will choose leads. So we have created our scatter plot chart, but I would like to do some changes to make the insight more obvious because it seems to be a relationship there. The better the CTR, the more leads. So I will go to style, and on style, the first thing I will do is I will change the color from blue to purple, and then I will change the title of this chart. So I will turn on this title, and I will say the higher the CTR, more leads I will get. Here, I will scroll down and in trend line, instead of none, you can put linear, so you can draw a line like the one in the left side. Then I will scroll down and I will go to change the background color. So I will put white. And with white, I will change it. And here I will add a border in this chart. So here I will put 25. And finally, I will also make this border purple. So I will choose purple, and we are done. We have created our first scatter plot on Google Looker Studio. I will show you a way to analyze your social media or ad performance data that will make you look like a data scientist in front of your team or clients. I will use scatter plots not to find a correlation, but to do a cluster analysis, or in another way to say it, I will classify my top performing posts based on two variables. Let me show you with an example. In this scatter plot, I am visualizing all my Instagram posts and I want to compare them by two metrics. the post impressions or the visibility, and the post engagement rate or the effectiveness. What is interesting here is that the engagement rate is not necessarily related with the visibility. As you can see, this post has very good engagement rate but very low visibility. This is counterintuitive because I will tell that, or I will think that the Instagram algorithm will reward me with higher visibility for this post, but this is not the case. Also, this post, very good visibility but very low engagement rate. That's why clusters will help us to spot this post based on two variables, not only engagement or not only visibility. As you can see, we are drawing the average engagement rate in this vertical line, and horizontally, we are drawing the average post impressions. In this first quadrant, I am classifying my top performers because these posts have very good engagement rate or better than average engagement rate and better than average post impressions. And these two posts in particular, I will call them like my outliers, another way to say it. So these are my top performers in general in terms of engagement and visibility. What I will do is I will look at them and maybe I will create posts similar to them because I want to replicate the success. Now, in this other quadrant, I have posts with very good visibility but low engagement rate. And finally, in this quadrant, low performers, low visibility and low engagement rate. And I want to avoid performers like these ones. Now, how do I create this chart? Let me show you. I will go to add a chart and I will choose the scatter plot and I will paste it right here. Now, the dots are different posts, and the way I can classify this post, as I mentioned, is using the post caption. With post caption, every different caption will be a different dot in our scatter plot. The X metric, or the metric in the X axis, will be the post engagement rate, and for the y-axis it will be the post impressions. Now we are almost done. Now we need to change some things in our design. I will go to style and I will change the colors. Instead of none, I will set colors by value, and I will remove the grid lines as I always do in all the exercises. I also will change the color of the text. The text won't be black, it will be gray, and I will now draw this average line. So I will go to add reference line and I will start with, instead of constant value, I will set a metric and the metric will be post engagement rate. By default, Looker Studio will show me the average post engagement rate, and I will call this label engagement. So this will be my average engagement. My second line will be post impressions, but first I want to change the thickness. So the thickness will be 2 and I will make this purple. And now the second line won't be engagement, will be visibility. So the second metric is post impressions. The calculation will be the average and the label will be visibility. Now we are almost done. I will change also the thickness. It will be 1. This one will be different, and I will make it purple as well. Finally, I will only change the background as I always do. So I will change the background, I will remove the grid lines, and I am done. This is how you can create a scatter plot on Looker Studio to analyze your social media performance or your ad performance or even your SEO. Whatever you can do, I think this kind of analysis is very useful. It is super simple and actually looks like sophisticated math. I will see you in the next lesson. To create funnels on Looker Studio, go to your dashboard and click on Add a Chart and then choose the funnel visualization, their latest visualization. Here, I will paste here and I will use GA4 data as example. So with GA4 data, the dimension will be event name and the metric will be event count. And here, I have created a funnel on Looker Studio, but I will show you the limitations, how you can overcome them, and other styling options. So on style, I will choose single color, and instead of blue, I will choose purple so I can see a color scale during this funnel. Also, I will choose a white background, as always, and in the setup, I want to show you a limitation that we have. It turns out that funnels on Looker Studio are limited because the way I can work with them is that I need to have a dimension that breaks down my funnel stages with a metric. Here, I am breaking down my total events by event name. Logically, with GA4, a funnel will happen because, of course, the further down you go into the funnel, you will have less conversion, so you will shape a funnel. I will have many page views, then some checkouts, and then a few conversions. But what about if I don't want to visualize some of the events I am displaying here? I will go to filters And on filter, I will exclude some of the events I don't want to visualize in my funnel. So I will exclude the event names that contain, for instance, page views. Page views are the most common event and I don't want to visualize it. Here I have a cleaner way to visualize my funnel. Now I will go to style and I will show a title. In this title, I will call this, for instance, e-commerce funnel. I will show you how we can overcome this. Actually, I will show you 4 different ways to visualize funnels on Looker Studio. Here is another way to create funnels on Looker Studio with tables. To get started, I will go to Add a Chart and I will choose the tables with bar chart visualization. I will paste it right here and I will use the same query as I did in the past. I will use GA for data, the dimension will be event name, and the metric will be event count. The next step is changing somehow the styling. So I will go to Style, and on Style, I will show a title. The title this time will be GA4 Funnel View. So GA4 Funnel View is the title, and I will do some changes. For instance, I will remove the raw numbers. I don't want to see those numbers to order or to sort my data. And I will change the bar colors. The bar colors will be purple, and I want to show the actual numbers of the total events I am having for every stage. Now I want to change the header. So in the header, instead of gray, I will make it purple, and the font will be white. Finally, I will change the background. The background will be white, and here is how you can create funnels with tables on Looker Studio. Here is how to create funnels on Looker Studio with bar charts. So I will go to insert and I will set column chart and I will paste it right here. I will use the same query in the past with GA for data. The dimension will be event name and the metric will be event count. So here we have our funnel in a vertical view. Go to styling and make it horizontal. The next change I want to do is I want to show the data labels. So I will go to show data labels and I will make these numbers compact because I want to see the values of every stage of my funnel. The next step is changing the color of the bars. So instead of blue, I will make it purple and I will change the width of these bars. I will make them thinner. Now, the next step is I want to remove the grid lines of this chart. So I will go to grid line color, I will make it transparent and I will copy and paste this. And pay attention to this. I will copy this bar chart and the only thing I need to do is I go to reverse x-axis direction. So I duplicate the same bar chart but in a different direction. And here is how you can draw and visualize a funnel with bar charts on Looker Studio. You can see I'm so happy because it is dumb, like cheating, but it actually works. So see you in the next video on creating funnels on Looker Studio. Here is how to create this beautiful funnel chart with community visualizations on Looker Studio. I will start from scratch and we will go to community visualizations and components. Here, click on explore more and you will see all your options, but I will choose build your own visualization. Here I need to paste a text. So go to this website through metrics. I will have the link of this website in the description of this video and copy this text and paste it right here. Then click on submit and we will see now this option. Please click here and enable or allow this option to turn on your community visualization. Allow and allow. Here we have created or we have now visualized the current chart I have created. You will see it works the same as we have done in the past. So I will select this visualization and I will use the same query, GA for data with event name as dimension and event count as metric. Now I will change the styling. So in styling, I will make it vertical and I also will change the gradient direction. I will make it horizontal. The first color will be this purple or violet and the second color will be this darker purple. Actually, the first one was pink. Anyways, I will change it. And as you can see, we have created a funnel chart with community visualizations on Looker Studio. I will show you my absolute favorite way to visualize funnels on Looker Studio and pay close attention because this might be sophisticated and complex, so pay close attention on how to build this. This is just an image. Actually, I simply have scorecards here and I have pasted an image in the background of a funnel. Here, There is an image, as you can see it, and the text is something I simply copied and pasted right here. That's how you can create funnels with images on Looker Studio. The easiest and to me the most useful way, because actually I can display the funnel stages as separate and standalone metrics in Scorecards. To create a line chart on Looker Studio, go to Add a Chart, choose Line Chart, and paste it on your dashboard. For this exercise, I will be using GA4 data, and I want to compare the age group of my traffic, and the metrics will be sessions, and I want to compare with key events or conversions. But there is an issue. When I choose key events, I cannot see them in the chart, and the reason why is the scale. I am comparing 7,000 sessions for only 25 conversions. I will fix this. So I will go to Style, and I will turn on the title, and I will add a summary of this chart. I will say that the more traffic, the more conversions I will get. This is just an example. Now I will change the color of this line chart. So I will choose the color, and instead of blue, it will be red. I will also show the points of this line chart, and I will show the data labels or the values. I will make these numbers compact, and I will add a background to this data label. It will be purple, and I will make this background rounded. So I will choose 20. You cannot see the difference because the background of the chart is purple, but I will change that. The second thing I want to do is I want to change the color of the key events. They are blue. I want to change them to purple, but I cannot see them because of the scale, but that is the next step. I will change it to purple, and I will change the axis from left to right. In the left side, I am seeing a scale from 50,000 to 400,000 sessions. In the right side, instead, I am visualizing 200 ranging to 1,000 conversions. Now I can compare these two metrics even though they are very different. And I can see a relationship. I can see that the more traffic, the more conversions. However, even though people from 28 years to 24 years drive the most traffic, they are not driving the most conversions. And I also can see that most of my traffic, I cannot categorize the age group. I will do some minor changes. I will make these bars a little bit narrower. Also, I will remove the grid lines. I will always make them transparent. I prefer that. So the grid lines will be transparent, and also the background will be white. And here is how you can create line charts on Google Looker Studio. To create maps or geo charts on Looker Studio, I will show you this example with Google Analytics for data, where I segment traffic by country. I will go to Add a Chart, choose Geo Chart, and I will paste it on my dashboard. By default, Looker Studio is showing country. I can change that. Instead of country, I could visualize cities, continents, regions, or any geo dimensions, even coordinates. I will choose city. And as metric, instead of views, I want to visualize sessions. Now with this change, I can change also the zoom of my map. I am visualizing the world or United States, and the zoom area instead will be India. If I choose India, what you will see is now this map is only showing Indian countries. But what about if I want to change again to countries? The route dimension, instead of cities, I choose countries, and now this map is not quite useful. I need to zoom out again. So instead of India, I will choose world, and now I can see an entire map where I can visualize my traffic by country. I will do some tiny changes. In style, I will change the color from blue to purple, and also I will add a white background. And here is how you can create geo charts or maps on Looker Studio. To create bubble maps on Looker Studio, I will go to Add a Chart, choose bubble map, and drop it on your dashboard. Here, I could visualize any geo dimension like countries, cities, regions, whatever. For this exercise, I will do it with region. I am using meta data, and I could visualize and compare two metrics for these bubbles. The size of my bubble will be link clicks, and the color intensity will be CTR. As you can see, we can compare two metrics in this kind of visualization. Now I will change the styling. So I will go to style, and on style, I can choose between map or satellite. I will keep map this time, and I can change the colors or the styling. The default color I'm visualizing here is silver, but I could change to dark, or maybe I could do it with a standard. I will keep a standard as in the example. Also, I can change the bubble layer or the size scale of the bubbles in this chart. I will keep it as it is, but maybe I will change the colors as I always do. Instead of blue, I will make it purple. And finally, you can hide or show some of the elements in this Google Maps widget. For instance, I can show the full screen control, as you can see, or maybe I can show the street view here is not relevant, and also the zoom control if you want to have this map fixed for your viewers. As you can see, here is how you can create a bubble chart on Looker Studio. To create a geo chart with a heat map on Looker Studio, I will go to Add Chart, I will go to Google Maps, and I will select the heat map type. I will paste the visualization right here, and I will select the fields. As geographical dimension, I could use country, city. In this case, I will use region. I am connecting methods data. So region and weight, or the metric that I will visualize, will be link clicks. Here I will put link clicks. I will wait for this visualization to load, and I will be able to visualize my data with a heat map. It is easy to interpret. The hottest areas are where there is more data or more concentration. So I could say that in this part of Mexico, there are more link clicks. What else I will do? I will go to style, and I can change the style of this chart, like the one in the left. So instead of silver theme, I could use a standard theme, and this is how to create a heat map on Looker Studio. To create a heat map on Google Looker Studio, go to Add a Chart, then select Pivot Tables with heat maps and paste the visualization. Now select the row dimension. I will choose hour of day. I am connecting GA4 data for this exercise, and as column, I will say day of week. Then the metric will be sessions, and the sorting for the rows will be hour, and I will make it ascending, so it starts at 12 a.m. and finishes at 11 p.m., and the sorting of the columns will be day of week with ascending sorting. So it starts from Monday to Sunday. Then on the style, I will change the header color. So the color will be black and the font will be white. Then I will wrap this text so I can see all my data in one view and I don't need to scroll to see more data. Once I wrap this data, I will adjust and modify a bit the size of this column so I can see everything in one place. And finally, I will change the color of this table. So I will scroll down and I will select, instead of blue, I will choose the red color, and I will finish with a background. I will make it white, and here is how you can create a heat map on Google Looker Studio. This is a great use case of pivot tables on Google Looker Studio. I want to spot keyword cannibalization on my Google Ads data. In theory, I don't want to compete with myself. I don't want to have multiple campaigns, ad groups, or ads bidding and competing for the same keyword. And this is exactly what this table is showing me. For the same search term, I can see that I am triggering 3 ad groups that are competing among them. For that, it might increase my CPM. If you want to have this analysis, you can download our free Google Ads dashboard template on Google Looker Studio. To create a pie chart on Google Looker Studio, go to Add a Chart and select the Donut chart and paste it on your dashboard. Now I will create an acquisition sources report with GA4 data. My dimension will be session medium, and the metric will be sessions. And here I have my pie chart on Looker Studio, but I will change the styling. So I will go to style, I will turn on the title, I will add a title, and I will select the number of slices I want. For instance, I can group them into others and only select 5 slices in total. Now I can change the colors of this. So the first slice will be purple instead, the second one will be red, and the third one will be green. Then I will change the radius of this pie chart to make it thinner. And I will end by placing the text in the bottom of this pie chart like this, and then change the background into white. And here is how you can create a pie chart on Google Looker Studio. To create this bar chart on Google Looker Studio, I will go to Add a Chart, select the stack bar chart, and paste this visualization on your dashboard. The first dimension will be age, and the second breakdown dimension will be gender. The metric will be sessions instead of views, and the sorting will be by age ascending. Now I will go to Style, and I will change the name of this chart. It will be Audience Demographics. Optionally, I can select the number of columns I want to visualize and also group by others. And also, I can select to do 100% stacking. The way to read this chart is that regardless the age group, the traffic is evenly split across male and female, across all these age groups. I will remove this option and I will show the total card. This will enable that when a user hovers over this chart, I will see the total traffic and also the split difference between male and female. I will also show the total label, so hovering becomes irrelevant because I will be able to display the data right away, and I will make these numbers compact. Now I can change the colors of this chart. I could choose single color, so I could select a blue, but this is not easy to read, so I will change it to bar order. The bar will start with a red for the unknown values, a purple for the male, and green for female. so I can distinguish the values in this bar chart. Finally, I will change the thickness of these bar charts and I will remove the grid lines. As always, I will make these grid lines transparent. I will choose a white background and also I will add a rounded border to this chart. And this is how you can create bar charts on Google Looker Studio. To set and visualize goals on Google Looker Studio, you might want to use bullet and gauge charts. I will show you how to create them. First, I will start with bullet charts on Looker Studio. Go to Add a Chart, select the bullet chart, and paste it on your dashboard. As metric, I will choose post engagement rate from Instagram Insights. I want to know my post performance. And remember, post engagement rate is a percentage, so I need to express the range limits in decimals. The first limit will be 3%, the second range will be 10%, and the final range will be 15%. Also, the target or the goal will be 8% engagement rate. This is interesting because I can see my actual performance 5% versus my goal 8%. Now I will change the style. On style, I will set the color to purple. The background also will be purple, and the letters or the font will be also purple. As you can see, I love purple. Finally, I will change the background and we have created a bullet chart on Looker Studio. Now I will create a gauge chart on Looker Studio. To create it, go to Add a Chart, select the gauge chart and paste this visualization on your dashboard. Now I will keep the same metric as before, post engagement rate. I will go to style and I will change the colors. The first color will be purple. The background also will be this lighter purple. And finally, I will select the target. The target is 8% and I will show the axis value so I can see the ranges between 0% and 10%. And this is how you can create bullet charts and gauge charts on Looker Studio to visualize your marketing goals. Treemaps are very useful to understand the hierarchy of my data. In this example, I am connecting Meta Ads data and I want to segment by publisher platform like Facebook, Messenger, and Instagram. But below these platforms, I have platform position. On Facebook, I have banner, stories, and feed. As you can see, I have different levels to segment and break down my data, and that's exactly why I would like to visualize my data with Treemaps. To create them on Google Looker Studio, I will go to Add a Chart, I will select the Treemap, and I will paste it on my dashboard, and I will create the same query. The query will be link clicks as metrics or clicks, and the dimension will be publisher platform and then platform position. Finally, I will do changes in the styling. The first is the title. I will call this traffic distribution and I will change the initial color. The initial color of the larger values will be red and the final color of the smaller values will be green. Finally, I will create a header. It will be purple and the text will be white. And this is how you can create tree maps on Google Looker Studio. To change date ranges on your Looker Studio reports, you will go to Add a Control and select Date Range Control. I will paste it in the dashboard, and with the dropdown, I will select a different date range. Here, I will choose this month, click this month, and click on Apply. Another option can be, for instance, I will select instead of this month, I will choose last year, apply, and I can see a greater date range. Another way is not with dynamic date ranges. A dynamic date range depends on your current date. I will make the date range fixed now. So I will click here on the drop down and I will make it fixed. If I choose fixed, I could choose particularly September 4 to December 11. Regardless what is my current actual date, this data or this date will remain. So I will click on apply. I am visualizing the data like this. Another way to select the date range is if I select instead of fixed, I will make it advanced. Advanced will count the days depending on my current state. But I will show you an example. For instance, I want to say that from today, I want you to count minus 4 days or minus 4 quarters or weeks or whatever. So this is very specific, counting from a particular date. And another option as an end date, I will select, for instance, from today minus 5 days. So this is very specific if you want a particular date range based on your current date. This is not quite often, but at least you have possibilities. Now I will click on apply and I have this advanced date range. What about if I only want to have a particular date range for a chart? When you create a date range control, it will affect by default all your charts. But in particular, you want a scorecard that only has this year to date data. I will show you how to do that. I will click on this chart, and if you scroll down in the setup, you will be able to change the default date range. Instead of automatic, you can select to custom, and in custom, you can select a particular date range for this chart. And with this is how you can create date range controls on Google Looker Studio. To create a data control on Google Looker Studio, go to Add a Control, select Data Control, and paste it on your Looker Studio dashboards. By default, the data source is Google Analytics Universal, but I will change it to GA4. Here, with this dropdown, I am able to select what website I want to visualize in this dashboard. By default, I have this demo, but I could change it to something else. I have other connectors like Google Ads, YouTube, the Campaign Manager, Search Console, and mainly all the Google data sources. Now, if you would like to change it to Google Ads, you will need your charts to be related or connected to Google Ads. And this is how you can create data controls on Google Looker Studio. If you want to segment your time series data by date, week, month, year, and other date ranges, and all in the same chart, we are talking, of course, about drill downs. To create them, I will select this chart and I will enable the option drill down. By default, Looker Studio will show me year and year month, but I will remove them. I will start from scratch. The first date type will be month or year month. The second one will be day of week or week of year. I will say day of week, and now I will select week and also month. Now we have selected our date ranges, but what about if I want to bring a dimension that I don't have available in my data source, like quarter? I can calculate it. So I will select date, I will edit it, and the data type will be year, quarter. And I am done. I will do a final step. I will go to style, and by default, the header of this chart is not visible. I will make it visible. So show on hover, I will change it for always show. Now I will be showing always my header. I will go to view, and now I will be seeing the header with the arrows. If I select these arrows, I will be able to change the date range type. For instance, I am seeing day of week, now it is week, now month of year, and this is how you can create drill downs on Google Looker Studio. If you want to display multiple metrics in the same chart, like a scorecard, we will need to create optional metrics. To create optional metrics on Google Looker Studio, we will select the chart and we will enable optional metrics. In this exercise, besides sessions, I want to add total users and key events to measure conversions. I am using GA4 data for this exercise. Finally, for the style, I will show the header and I will change the color of the font. First, I will show the header always, so it is always visible in my chart, and the color will be purple. If I go to view, you can see how users will see this dashboard. As you can see, I can select different metrics. Instead of total users, I want to visualize key events, or I can get back to the original version. With this, now you already know how to create optional metrics on Google Looker Studio. If you want to filter a particular data range on your Google Looker Studio charts, we will need to create sliders. To create a slider on Google Looker Studio, I will select the chart, and as a limitation, I will choose optional metrics. If I choose optional metrics, now I cannot choose a slider, so I will turn this off. Instead, I will select metric sliders and I will go to view. In this exercise, I will say that I want to filter some acquisition sources on my website traffic. I can see that Google Play is driving 50,000 visits, but Google or SEO is driving 800K visits. This data is a little bit messy. I want to filter it. So I will choose the sliders and I will say I only want to know acquisition sources that are maximum 700K visits. And also, I only want to filter acquisition sources that are at least 100K visits. And this is how you can filter your data by particular data ranges on Google Looker Studio with sliders. You can turn any Google Looker Studio chart into a filter or a control with cross-filtering. To enable it, I will select this chart, I will scroll down in Setup, and I will go until I reach Chart Interactions, and I will enable cross-filtering. As you can see here, once I enable it, I will go to View, and if I click, for instance, in directing this pie chart, this will filter all my dashboard data to only show traffic from the source direct. I can do the same with Google. If I select Google instead, it will filter again all my data in this dashboard only to show traffic coming from Google. This is how you can turn any chart into a control. This is how cross-filtering works on Google Looker Studio. You can export your Google Looker Studio data on Google Sheets and then use AI to analyze it. Here is how. If you go to any of your Looker Studio charts, you will see an option of more. Click there, click on export, and choose Google Sheets as destination. In options, keep value formatting and export. This will create a new spreadsheet with the same data we had on our pie chart. This pie chart had an acquisition report, so I am breaking down my traffic data by acquisition sources. I would like to analyze this by tagging it into different categories. Now, to access AI, you will install our free application that connects ChatGPT to Google Sheets. If you install it, you will see this option of Porter AI, and I will go to settings. There are two things that you can modify. The AI model, we offer all the models from the OpenAI API, and also you can change the response style. If you want a style of an analyst to analyze the data or tag it, or a creative to create copy, for instance. I will save these settings and I will go back and I will create a formula that comes with this application. The formula is ask Potter, and I will create a prompt that will reference the cell in the column A. I will show you this example. So the prompt says, tag this acquisition source as owned by Google or external. So ChatGPT will say, okay, Google is owned by Google. Direct maybe is owned by Google, and for instance, Bing is external. Let's see this. I will create this formula, and once I create this formula, this will tag this value. Now I will select all my cells, and this will do it automatically. And this is how you can create analysis at the scale with AI, and how you can export your data from Google Looker Studio on Google Sheets. You can use dropdowns to filter all your data on your Looker Studio reports. To create a dropdown, go to Add a Control, select Dropdown List, and paste it anywhere on your dashboard. By default, my control field is date, but I will change it to session source. I want to know my acquisition sources. Here, I will select this and I will choose an option. For example, I will only want to visualize my data coming from Google Organic. If I select it, now my dashboard is filtering the data from this acquisition source, but I could also change to Bing, to Facebook, social media, organic, and so on. Here is how you can create a dropdown on Google Looker Studio. Input boxes are one of the best ways to filter your data on Google Looker Studio. Here is why. Go to Add a Control, select Input Box, and paste this widget anywhere on your dashboard. Now I will change the control field. Instead of date, I will use full page URL. I am connecting GA4 data for this example. Now I will go to Style and I will change the position of the field name. Instead of the top, I will choose left. Now, in the setup, I will change the operator or the conditional. I won't use equals. I will use instead contains. Now I will show you an example. I want to filter the data on my website only for a particular URL. I want to see the traffic going to our application. So I will type up here, and this will filter all my traffic only to the traffic coming to that particular page. Here is how you can create search boxes on your Looker Studio reports. I will show you how to add buttons on your Looker Studio reports and what they do. I will go to Add a Control, then select Button, and I will paste it right here. I will change the background to pink, and the font will be 18. Now I will change the copy and the action. I will go to Setup, and the three types of actions I have is Navigation, which is going to a different page on this report, or Report Actions, which is related with sharing this report. I will do Report Actions. The actions I have by default are invite people, get report link, download report, and reset filters. I will start with invite people. And the copy of this button will be that. It will say share. Now, the second action or the second button will be like this. I will copy and paste this button, and I will simply change the action and the copy. So in the action, I will add get report link, and the call to action here will be report link. And finally, for the third button, I will copy and paste. I will choose now download report as PDF, and the copy will be according to this download. As you can see, we can use buttons to make more visible this kind of actions of sharing these reports. Now, users of this report can get a download on PDF or can share it with other stakeholders, clients, and executives. Here is how to create filters on Google Looker Studio. The first way is by choosing a particular chart, going to add a filter in the setup, and creating a new filter or choosing an existing one. I will choose an existing one that is called AI Traffic Sources. I will edit it to show you what it contains. First, the name of this filter is AI Traffic Sources, so it is easy to understand. The data source of this filter is Power Metrics on GA4 data. And finally, The rules is include. I could choose between include or exclude. I could choose any of the fields in this connector. It can be metrics or dimensions, and the operator can be equals, contains, and others. I generally only use contains and equals. Finally, I could choose between or and. This is a standard conditional. I will close it, and I will show you other ways to make this faster. I only created a filter for this particular chart, but I could create filters at page level and even report level that act on all my charts. So if I go to page and go to current page settings, and I select the data source of this page, which is GA4, I could select a particular filter that acts across all the charts in this page. So I will add a filter and I will add AI data sources. As you can see, all the charts in this page is filtered with AI data sources. And this is impressive because with this chart, I can know where my traffic is coming from these AI data sources like ChatGPT or Perplexity. Now I can do the same exercise, but at a report level. So I will, for instance, deselect this. If I want a particular chat to not be filtered, I will remove this one and I can remove this filter. So all my charts are filtered, but this one. Now, to make it at report level, I will go to File, then I will go to Report Settings, and I will add a filter. And you already know the exercise. This will filter all the charts in my entire report. And this is how you can create filters on Google Looker Studio. I will show you how to transform your data on Google Looker Studio with custom formulas, regular expressions, parameters, conditionals, and more. I will start by showing you how to change the format of your data. For instance, transforming a date into a month, into a week, day of week, or hour. Or the same with metrics, transform a number into a percentage or a currency, or even the aggregation. Instead of showing the absolute total, I will show you how to show the percentage of the total. As I can edit numbers, I can edit text. Here, I am transforming a URL into an image that I can display on my Looker Studio tables, and I can use parameters so users can edit different values of their data inside the reports. I will also use parameters to manage multiple accounts in the same dashboard and in the same view, and this will save you a lot of time if you are managing multiple accounts or clients. And the most important one, I will say, I will show you how to calculate your own metrics, your own conversion rate, CAC, MER, ROAS, and all these marketing metrics that you have. As I can operate numbers, I can operate text. And with these formulas as well, I can show you how to count the number of characters in your data, in your content, like the length of your page titles or the length of the copy of your creatives. Finally, and very importantly, I will show you how to segment your data or tag your data with conditional. So depending on the performance of a particular metric, I will tag my data or my post accordingly. I will do the same with e-commerce. So depending on the orders or the sales or the days in the last purchase, because this is another formula, I need to count days since the last purchase, I will segment my customers based on these criteria so I can assess the quality of these customers. And finally, how to segment your data in a custom way. Imagine segmenting your customers or your campaigns or your events on GA4 or whatever data like your UTMs by the names that you use in your naming conventions. In this example with regular expressions, I show you to take the values in your campaign names so we can break down or segment our data by brand, objective, funnel stage, and any way that is not by default available on our data sources. I will show you how to transform your data on Google Looker Studio. I will see you in our next lessons. Very often, my data on Looker Studio is not in the format I want. For instance, I would like to segment my Facebook ads data by date, but also by week, by month, by year, by day of week, and so on. But my connector doesn't allow it. It doesn't have that field, only has date. Here is how to fix that. Let's say I want to change the second column. The first column has a date, the second column has a date, but I want to transform it into a month. So I will select this table and I will edit with the pencil icon the second column that has a date. So click on edit, change the data type, and instead of date, I will transform it into year month, and I can change the name of this field. Instead of date, year, month, I could call it month. This is super useful because if you are working a different language, you could change the name of the field into Spanish, for instance, or Portuguese. This is super common for our clients and especially for me. Now, the third column, instead of date, I will transform it into, instead of date, it will be a day of week. And here's how you can transform the data format or the date format on your Looker Studio fields. See you in the next lesson. Here is how to change the format of your metrics on your Looker Studio reports. Sometimes, to give more clarity on your reports, you would like to change the format of a metric from a number to a currency. This is the example of amount spent of meta ads. I would like to display it as currency so it is clear I am talking about money. So I will select this table and I will go to this field. It is amount spent, it is the first field, and I will click on edit by clicking on this pencil icon. Now, the data type, instead of number, will be currency, and I could select across all these currencies and symbols. It is not that this is converting to this particular currency, it is only changing the format of this data. And here is how you can change the format from metric to currency on Google Looker Studio. I will show you two other examples of changing the calculations or the formats of your Looker Studio metrics. I want to express, for instance, my total ad spent by campaign not in absolute numbers but in percentages. To do it, I will select this table and I will select the second column with amount spent. I will edit and I will call this field ad spent in percentage, and the comparison calculation will be instead percent of total. And as you can see, I can express this value also in percentages. The second example is I want to change the CTR from percentages to decimals instead. So for the third column, I would like to change the name. The CTR will be called now only CTR for this column. And for the fourth column, I will call this one CTR but in decimals. Now I will change the format. Instead of number, instead of percentage, I will use number. And here's how you can change the formats of your metrics and why to do it. I will see you again in the next lesson. You might already know that you can bring images on Looker Studio. With our connectors, you can bring your creative images, your posts, your email snapshots, your photos, your customer profiles, and everything that can be an image, we will bring it in our Google Looker Studio connectors. Now, how images work? Images are simply URLs that contain that image. With this, you can already know how to bring images with a custom connector or from your own data sources. As you can see, this image is actually this URL, and if I click on this URL, I will find this image file. Another way to see this, if I go to edit this add image URL, I will click on edit, I will select the data type, it is URL, and I can change it to image. For instance, if in your data source, in your Google Sheet connection, or any other connector, you have a URL that contain an image, and this is actually an image file, then you can turn it into an image on Google Looker Studio. A very useful function or aggregation on Google Looker Studio is count and count distinct. I will show you how it works. I am seeing a time series where every day I am seeing how many posts are being published by three brands, Nike, Puma, and Adidas. By the way, we have a connector that is called Instagram Comparators that lets you monitor any Instagram business account so you can see the total social activity. I will go back to the tutorial. So let's say I don't have a metric for the number of posts, or I want a metric for the number of pages or number of campaigns, but we don't have a metric for that. We need to count that number. So I will show you how it works. For the first metric, I am counting the total posts, and the way I do it is that I simply select a dimension like media ID, and I count the total number of unique IDs. This is how it is aggregated. Another way to calculate discount or discount distinct is with a formula. I will show you. I will use a function that is called count distinct media ID. I am counting as well the total number of media IDs in a given date range. And here is how you can use count and count distinct to analyze your marketing data. I will show you a common example of a custom field for social media. Let's say I want to calculate the post engagement rate. To calculate post engagement rate with Instagram, for instance, I need to divide my post engagement by my post impressions. I will click on this table that connects Instagram Insights, and I will select this field because our connector already brings it. But what about if it didn't bring it and I want to have this metric? I will go to add metric, add calculated field, and I will call it engagement rate. Now the formula will be the summatory of post engagements divided by the summatory of impressions. What else? I need to change the data type. Instead of a number, I will use a percent and I will click on apply. And this will create a new column with this field, with post engagement rate, but that I just calculated. I will see you in the next class about custom fields on Looker Studio. How to calculate your conversion rates on Google Looker Studio. It is actually a quite hard question, not because it is hard to calculate, because it is a simple division, but because of the meaning of what a conversion is for you. Let me show you. Let's say I want to calculate the conversion rate on my website with GA4 traffic. I will divide key events by total sessions. This number in this example doesn't make sense because the conversion rate cannot be more than 100%. I will click and I will show you what is the formula here. If I click here and I will hover on this field, it will say fx, like function. I will know that this is a custom field I just created. I will click on it and I will show you the formula. The first thing I want to show you is that creating a formula or a metric on Google Looker Studio is as simple as doing it on a Google Sheet. And the formula for conversion rate with GA4 data in this case is dividing key events by sessions, and the data type is a percentage. That's everything. But this question is harder because sometimes my conversion data is not in the same data source. Let's say I am an e-commerce store. It turns out that my actual purchases or conversion data is on Shopify, but my traffic is in GA4. How do I solve this? I will select the orders from the Shopify data source and also will select the traffic from GA4 data. I will do a right click and I will click on blend data. Automatically, Looker Studio will take these two fields and it will calculate its own conversion rate. It is already dividing them. So this is super interesting because they recognize those fields. Now, it is orders divided by sessions. So on my Shopify store, if I take orders as my conversions, it will be 15%. Now, another way to express my conversion rate is not by events over sessions. It can be also by customers over actual users or traffic measured in an individual aggregation. That was very nerd to say. Instead of using sessions as metric, I will use total users in GA4. Anyways, I will do the same exercise. I will select customers from Shopify and total users from GA4, right click, blend data, and this is another way to calculate your conversion rate. And the third way is if, for instance, you have a B2B business or you have a CRM, maybe you want to take the conversions from that data source, from that source of truth. So I will select the totals created deals or the contacts or the companies. I will select it with the traffic from GA4 data and I will blend the data. And I think you already know how this process works. Here's how you can calculate your conversion rate on Looker Studio and how to answer that very hard question because you can take any of your conversions available across all your data sources. Let's imagine you are creating a custom metric on your report, and for every chart that you need to create, you need to add this metric manually. This is the example of this table where I created a field that is called hold rate. Hold rate, by the way, on Meta Ads and Creative Analytics is the percentage of impressions that end up into an actual video play or through play. So what I needed to do, I will show you an example. Let's say that I want to create a new chart. I will bring a scorecard and I will bring amount spent or ad spent. What about if I want to add hold rate again here? I will need to change or to add the field manually. So I will go back to the table, I will copy and paste the formula of the hold rate, and I will paste it now in this scorecard. This is useful because anyways I have my hold rate here, but I will need to repeat this process for every chart I create. What about if I create a new custom field from the data source so I can use it whenever I want in all my charts as long as I am using this data source? I will show you an example of what I am talking about. So I will go to Resource, Manage Ad Data Sources. I will use the Facebook Ads connector that has 23 charts. I will go to Edit and I will add a field and a calculated field. So this calculated field will work at the data source level, not at the chart level, which is way more useful. So add calculated field and I will call it again hold rate. The formula of hold rate, as I told you, is the division of 3-second video views on Meta divided by the total impressions. So I create this field and I will click on save and I will go back to edit the data source. If I dismiss this message, if I search hold rate, now I will find this custom field with the function. It is a custom field. The type will be, instead of number, I will make it a percent or a percentage. I will click on done, I will click on close, and now this field is available in this data source and I can use it across all my charts. I will show you an example. I will click on another chart, I will select a scorecard, I will paste it right here, and instead of this field, I will use hold rate. And you can see it becomes a percentage automatically. Now I will do it in this table. In this table, I have my formula that I created manually. I will remove it. And instead, I will type hold rate and it will bring this field automatically. This is beautiful. This will save me a lot of time and I hope it also saves time for you. See you in the next lesson. Here is a great example of custom fields on Looker Studio. This time I will count the number of characters on a string or a text. In this example, I want to count the number of characters in my website page title because I want to spot some titles that are maybe too long and Google will crop them. The general rule says that Google will accept no longer than 60 characters titles. So I want to spot the ones that are a little bit longer so I can change them later. Here, what I want to do is I will show you what I created. I call this tool the page title length checker. Of course, this is just something I just made up. But in this table, I created a field that is called characters that will count the number of characters of this page title. How to create it? It is super simple. You will select the metric I created, and the function is length. I simply use the function length with the title or the text I want to count, and that's everything. With this data, you can spot those pages that are maybe too long. Most of my pages in this example are good, have a good number of characters, but these ones in particular are longer than expected. And this is how you can spot pages with too long titles. And this is an example of custom fields with the length formula on Google Looker Studio. Here is another example of the length formula on Google Looker Studio. I would like to do the same exercise, but with ads. Sometimes my titles are too long and my copy is too long. The general rule for Facebook is that my title should be no longer than 40 characters and the copy should not be longer than 125 characters. The formula is super simple. It is the same as in the past with our page titles. I will simply select this table and the formula of the ad length will say, please count with the length function the ad title, number of characters. That's everything. And the same formula with the copy. With length, I will take the ad text. And with this, you can spot what copy, what titles or headlines are longer than expected. I will show you another example of custom fields on Looker Studio, this time with a date formula. I would like to know the date difference between today and the last date of a purchase for a particular customer. This will help me know the recency of these clients. Some customers purchased the last 5 days ago, so they are better customers because they are more recent. However, there are some other customers who have purchased in the last year, and I would like to know that. I will show you how to calculate this metric. So I already did it. I will show you the formula, and the formula will be date difference, that is the function. Today is the first date, and the second date is the last order date. I will create this formula again so you can follow it for your own. I will go back and I will add a new field, and this new field will be called days since the last purchase. And the formula is super simple. First, the function. The function will be date difference, and the first date that I will compare is today. This is another function because this updates automatically based on today's data. And I will take the field from Shopify, which is the last order date. I will put it right here. I will click on apply. I will close this model with the field. And now here you can calculate how many days have passed since the last purchase of every customer with your Shopify data. How to create conditionals on Google Looker Studio. You will use conditionals mostly every day in your life if you work with computers or in marketing. In this example, it is simple. I wanted to tag my posts depending on their performance. If the post impressions of this post are over 4,000 and the post engagement rate is over 5%, tag this post as boost. It is a good performing post. Otherwise, tag it as boo. It is a bad performing post. So I will show you how I created this column called recommendation, this custom field. I will select this table, I will select this custom field, and what I did was this conditional. Don't worry about the formula. This is SQL. You don't need to learn SQL. Otherwise, well, it is useful, but you don't need to do it. You can actually copy paste the formulas just as I do or use ChatGPT. When you create conditionals with SQL, you will start always with case, and then I will create a conditional for every row I create. So this conditional says when post engagement rate is over 5% expressed in decimals and the post impressions are over 4,000, tag as boost. Otherwise, also called uh, else, tag it as boom. And here is how you can create conditionals on Google Looker Studio. I hope you like it. I think you will find this very useful in the future for other actual examples. How to create regular expressions on Google Looker Studio. Regular expressions or regex are the kind of things that you don't want, but you need. And I will show you with an example. If you're a marketer, eventually you need naming convention. You need to add a structure on the names of your marketing assets, like your campaign names, your campaign copy, your posts, your URLs, because eventually with this structure, you will want to segment and filter this data. In this example with meta ads data, I can take the campaign names that have a naming convention and I could break down or segment my data by brand, objective, final stage, seasonality, or iteration. And I will show you this example. For instance, with this meta ads data, I could segment by brand, as you can see, or I can filter it as well. I also can segment or filter by objective of these campaigns, also by final stage or even seasonality. What is the issue here? Meta ads by default doesn't bring these fields, so I cannot segment by default with these fields. And this happens with all data sources. That's why we need to create regular expressions to create this kind of custom segmentations. To create a regular expression, follow this formula. I will select this table, and on this table, I will use the formula for segmenting by brand. Regular expressions are simple SQL. If you are using Looker Studio, you are using SQL. Don't worry about that. You only need to copy and paste these formulas. This conditional is simple. I will always start with case. If I am using case, I am creating a conditional. Now, every row is a different conditional, and I will start with when. When regex match is simply a function that you only need to copy. When campaign name contains the word AIG, then tag as AIG. I will copy and paste this conditional and I will add the other values. When it contains Valiant, then tag it as Valiant. When it contains Uber, tag it as Uber, and so on. You will add this period and this asterisk in the beginning and the end because this is a regular expression that says, I will look in this string and I will look anywhere in the string for these values. And if these values are contained, then the conditional is true. I only need to create these different rules and conditionals, and I will end with else, as you can see. After I finish all these conditionals or these criteria, if it is not met, simply tag it as other, and then I will use the clause end to finish this conditional. This is everything. This is how you can create regular expressions on Google Looker Studio to segment your data in a custom way. Here is another example of custom formulas and conditionals on Google Looker Studio. This time we will do a basic RFM analysis. RFM is a framework that lets me segment my clients by their quality, and I can assess the quality by three criteria: recency, frequency, and monetary value. Monetary value is if they are paying a lot. Frequency is if they are doing a lot of orders, and recency is if the last purchase was recent. That's everything. And we calculate the metrics to measure those criteria. First, I am using Shopify data by default for this example. With the total numbers per customer, I can tell the frequency. With the total sales, I can tell the monetary value. And with the days since last purchase, I can assess the recency. How do I calculate the days since last purchase? I can show you this formula that we did in another lesson. I will click in the function or the formula and I will see that I used a function that is date difference and the difference between today and the customer creation date. Actually, maybe I will do it with the last order date, not the customer creation date. But anyways, I won't edit this part of the video. Now I will click on done. Now I will create a conditional that based on these three metrics will segment these customers accordingly as good customer, regular customer, and bad customer, just as an example. So here I will show you the conditional I will create. This is a dimension that I call segmentation. If I show you here, this is a simple conditional that starts with case. Remember, this is SQL. Looker Studio runs on SQL. You don't need to learn it, but you need to understand the basic structure. When you work with a conditional, you always start with case and you finish with end. So I will start with case, and every row is a different rule in our condition. The condition starts when orders are over one and the total sales are more than 100, and the days in the last since the last purchase is, let me see what I put, is less than 50 days, then this is called a power customer. That's the name I put. Now, the second rule is when the orders are more than zero, so at least you bought something, the total sales are over 100, it is the same rule, and the day since the last purchase was less than 100 days, then you are an average regular customer. And finally, I will say, hey, if you have made at least one purchase, the total sales are over 100, but more than 150 days have happened, or less than that, then you are a meh customer or a bad customer. This is just an example. With this formula, I will end with else, bad customer. If you are not following any of these rules, for instance, you have zero purchases or more than 200 days or less than 100 in spend, then you are bad. I will finish with end. And this is how I can segment my customers with these three criteria. I like this exercise because I combine multiple things. I use conditionals, I use custom formulas, I use different metrics, and I use segmentation. I hope you like this exercise and already you understand very well the power of custom fields and conditionals on Google Looker Studio. I will explain you parameters on Google Looker Studio with this example. So parameters let me input data in the Looker Studio report so I can model different scenarios. Let's say that your user wants to input a different goal, a different cost, objective, budget, or even currency conversion. So in this example, I am doing a currency conversion where I say that for every US dollar, I am getting 4,000 Colombian pesos. And what about if I change this value? Instead of 4,000, I make it 5,000 Colombian pesos for every dollar. Now, the total calculated ad spend in US dollars is not 1,000, is 800. But how does it work? If you pay attention to a control field, you can see that it is not in blue, it is in purple. So it is not a metric, it is a parameter. And if I revert back this value and I will make it default again to 4,000 pesos, I will now see this metric or this scorecard. If I go to a formula, you will see that I am multiplying the ad spend from Meta with the currency conversion in purple, but this currency conversion is dynamic. It will be changed or affected based on the input of this dashboard. This is beautiful because end user can model different scenarios but simply inputting different data. So this is another way to make your dashboards interactive. How to create these parameters on Looker Studio? Let me show you. I will go to resource, I will go to manage data sources, and I will go to edit the data source where I want to apply these parameters. So I will click on edit, and if I scroll down to all the fields, you will see in the bottom a new type of field. Green, remember, refers generally to dimensions. Blue refers to metrics, but for this particular field, I have it in purple and I have two parameters, currency conversion and select accounts. The select accounts, forget about it, we will see it in the next class. I will focus on currency conversion. So if I go to a function or the formula I created, you will see that I can name my new field or my new parameter. And also, I can select the data type. I say that this is a whole number, and also I can start with any value, and the default value will be 4,000. So this is how can I create a parameter. Another way to do it is if you go to a data source, you will see an option that says add parameter, and from here you can set up a new parameter as well. So if I click in done, now you already know how to create parameters inside your data sources. This is how you can add these parameters as new fields in your charts. And this is how you can make your Looker Studio dashboards interactive, even changing the data that is displayed on Looker Studio. I will see you in the next class where I will show parameters to select different accounts in a single report. See you. How to monitor or visualize multiple accounts in a single Looker Studio dashboard. Let's say that you have 20 clients. You will need to create 20 different reports. Or what about if for these 20 brands, we only have a single dashboard and we can select in a dropdown like this one, what accounts I want to visualize. This is way more efficient, and I could, for instance, select one or multiple accounts in the same view. As you can see, I am connecting my Facebook ads data. These are all the ad accounts I have access to, and I can select which ones I want to visualize. But also, as you can see in this dashboard, this field, this control field, is not green. It is not a dimension that is called select ad accounts. It is a parameter. It is purple. I will show you how to use parameters to do multi-account selection on your Google Looker Studio reports. So once we see this control field is a parameter, let me show you how to create it. Go to add data or go to resource, go to manage add data sources, and here you can see all the data sources that we have connected. That data source in particular was Facebook ads and Instagram ads, so I will click on edit. And as you can see in purple, I have two parameters: currency conversions that I explained in another lesson, and also select ad accounts. How can I create or turn on this parameter? Let me show you. If I go to edit connection, when I connect my data, you most of the times will see this checkbox. And most people wonder, what does allow select accounts to be modified in my reports mean? This is what it means. It lets you select the ad accounts or this dropdown to be in your Looker Studio report, so any end user could select different accounts from your connector. If I do this with this connector by Power Metrics, I will select this one, I will reconnect, and I will allow apply. Now I will turn on this parameter, and now you can use it as a field or a control field in your Looker Studio dashboards, and this way you can create multi-account reports that you can monitor in a single dashboard. Here's how to blend our data on Google Looker Studio and all the use cases related with marketing. First, we will blend our PPC performance data from Google Ads, Meta, and LinkedIn so we can have a combined view of our ad spend, clicks, impressions, and so on. We'll face many issues, and you will have a love-hate relation with Looker Studio. So we will also blend Google Sheet data so we can manage null values, missing dates, and other things that you will face when you start blending your data on your own reports. Also, if we connect other data sources like Shopify, we could have the bottom line impact analysis because we could get the actual profitability. Think of this. If we take the actual sales from our Shopify store with the actual ad spend from Meta, Google, TikTok, we could actually calculate metrics like CAC, ROAS, MER, and all these metrics that answer to the question, what is my marketing ROI? After we connect this data, I will also show you some use cases and great use cases of also blending your Google Sheet data. For instance, we can do actual currency conversion with live data from actual currencies. We could add also annotations and notes for particular events, changes, or the change log that you have done in a particular campaign or channel, or even I can compare my performance data with my goals and my budget. And finally, if there is not a data source or connector available, like for instance Amazon Ads, I can also pull this data from a Google Sheet and blend it in my Looker Studio reports. So this is an example for Google Sheets for goal tracking. In one column or table, I have my Google Ads performance data. In another table, I have my Google Sheet budget that I can insert and change manually, and I can create a time series like this where I compare my conversions versus my goals. I can do the same with currency conversion. If I get the currency conversion data by date and also my ad spend by date, I could actually automate the calculation of different currency conversions on Google Looker Studio, and also annotations. If I want to have a change log of all the changes I am doing, I can compare my performance versus the changes I have done on my marketing channels and campaigns. As you can connect Google Sheets, we can also bring other data like the cost data. Imagine, for instance, connecting our cost data and profitability data from a Google Sheet with the ad spend so we can have our actual cost of goods sold or our actual global ad spend. Finally, this is the most important part and the most exciting. We could take our data, do a regular expression to segment our data, and we can group, for instance, our data by campaign, by brand, by client, across all our channels so we can create an actual cross-channel marketing report. As you can see here, I have my campaign names from Google Ads and from Meta Ads, but I am not breaking down my data when blending by campaign, but by brand. So as you can see, I am breaking down by brand my total spend across channels. This is a better view for management and for your business in general. And also with this exercise, I will show you the difference between the different join types like left join, right outer, inner join, full outer, and cross join. And this is how you will blend your data on Google Looker Studio. I am super excited for this. I will see you in our next lessons. Here is how to blend your ad performance data on Looker Studio so you can create cross-channel reports. For this exercise, I am combining or blending Google Ads, Meta Ads, and LinkedIn Ads data. The first exercise is to bring a table for every data source with the equivalent metrics and dimensions. So for Google Ads, I am bringing first by date my cost, which is equivalent to ad spend, impressions, clicks, and conversions. For Meta, I am doing the same query by date, the amount spent, impressions, link clicks, and purchases. And finally, for LinkedIn, also by date, my spent, impressions, clicks, and conversions. This is important to understand. Even though the data sources are different and the metrics names are different, they represent the same. Spend, amount spent, and cost represent my ad spend across this channel. So once you create the table with your data sources, the only path I need to do, or the only step, is selecting them and do a right click. Once you do a right click, you will find an option that says blend data. And this will automatically generate a new table with your blended data source. However, the query is not correct. By default, Looker Studio set the dimension as amount spent, and I don't want it. But I will show you what it created. If I go to edit this data source that it just created, it will show me that it is working correctly. But I will create a new blended data source from scratch so you can understand everything that we are seeing here. It is super simple. With data blending on Looker Studio, first you will love it, then you will hate it, and then you will love it again. Now, I will click on close, and I will remove this one, and I will work on this blended table that I had already created in the past. If I go to this table and I click on edit data source, you will see that this is a blended data source. It is not a common connector. I will click on edit, and I will explain everything that you are seeing here. So my first recommendation is that you name every data source that you are connecting so you can identify them. Here I am connecting Google Ads, here is LinkedIn, and also Facebook, so it is easy to distinguish. The second step is unifying some fields. If I want to blend or unify fields from different data sources, they must be the same so I can understand what to blend. My recommendation is to start with dates if you are new to data blending, because dates are universal. Regardless if you're using Google Ads, LinkedIn Ads, or Facebook Ads, it is called January 1st across all of them. So dates are better. What about if you want to blend your campaign names? To blend them correctly, the campaign names across all your channels should have the same naming convention and the same names, so I can match them. This is often not the case, but with dates, this is always the case. That's why my recommendation, your first data blending, do it with date. And don't you worry, in another lesson, I will show you how to do different blendings with other dimensions. Stay tuned because I will show you everything you need about data blending on Looker Studio. Now, let's continue. The second recommendation I want to give you is change the name of the metrics and the field so you can identify the data source. For Google Ads, the GA spend refers to the cost, but I want to make sure I can understand this is Google Ads. I will do the same with impressions. I won't call it impressions, I will call it Google Ads impressions. This is important because if I pull the metric impressions, I want to know they are Google Ads impressions and not LinkedIn Ads impressions. Once you rename your fields, now I will work with those Venn diagrams that you are seeing there. I will click here and my mind will collapse. This is too hard. It is super simple. Don't worry, it is a simple Venn diagram from the school, and in another lesson I will explain you these join operators, the left outer, right outer. In another lesson I will do it. This time a recommendation, 90% of the times you will use left outer join. That's everything that you need to understand. That's it. So for this exercise, I will do left outer join, and I will combine the date from Google Ads with the date from LinkedIn Ads and click on save. I will do the same with Facebook. I will blend the date from Google Ads with the date of Facebook Ads, and I will use again the same join operator, which is left outer. I will continue and I will click on save. And a recommendation as well is naming your blended data source, because you will create many in your reports and you want to make sure you are using the correct one. So here I call it Google Ads plus Facebook Ads plus LinkedIn, and I will finish on close. I have my blended data source on Looker Studio. It is great, but it is not finished. As you can see, there are some null values. Null values are not the same as zero. Zero is a number, null is nothing. I cannot operate null. 5 plus null is not 5, is null. So I need to change this because otherwise I cannot combine a metric that is called total ad spend. Because if I have a null value, then Looker Studio will return a null. I need to fix this. Super simple, don't worry. The first thing I will do is with this table, I will bring the dimension date, and Looker Studio will identify the dimension that is shared across these data sources. And I can also bring in the same table, as you can see, the Google ad spend, the LinkedIn ad spend, and the Facebook spend. This is wonderful because I can see the actual values separated by data source, and also I can create a combined metric with all of them. I will show you how to calculate these custom fields on Looker Studio. So I will go to my metrics and I will select the total ad spend I had created. This total ad spend is a simple formula. I will show you here that is summing, combining, I don't know how to say it in English, sorry, Google ad spend plus LinkedIn ad spend plus Facebook ad spend. This seems to be right. It is a simple formula. The issue is that if I have the formula like this, it will still show some null values because remember, null plus 5 is null. So I need to transform those null values into zeros so I can operate them mathematically correctly. I will go back and I will show you the new total ad spend that I am calculating, and you will see this function and you will love it. In this new function, I am doing the same formula. I am summing or adding my LinkedIn ad spend, but I am using a function that is called if null. If null is a function that says, if null for this metric, if it is null, then turn it to zero. And I am doing that with all of the metrics. If LinkedIn ad spend is null, turn it to zero. If Google Ads spend is null, turn it to zero. And with Facebook, if it is null, turn it to zero again. And that's how you can fix your blends when getting null values on your formulas. With this fixed and with this new field, now we can create charts like these ones, where over time I can see my total ad spend by channel. And this is the first class of data blending on Looker Studio. In other classes, I will show you how to fix other issues that you will find, how to use other join operators, and I think that you will be an expert on data blending on Looker Studio. So I will see you in the next classes. I am so excited to show you this. Here is how to fix missing formulas when blending data on Google Looker Studio. And this is another lesson of those that you don't know you need until you do, and that you are very desperate to be watching this video. In this exercise, I want to blend Google Ads, Meta Ads, and LinkedIn Ads data. Particularly, I want to know the total clicks, the total spend, and my global cost per click. And here I have a blended data source and a blended table with these metrics: the total ad spend from Google, from LinkedIn, and from Facebook, and the total spend of this, the total clicks from Google, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and the total clicks. And now I can calculate my cost per click. Here is what I will do. I will show you these metrics that I am bringing here. I needed to create a formula for each of them, and I will show you the formula. I will first show you the formula of cost per click, the initial one. So instead of adding Google Ads plus Facebook Ads plus LinkedIn directly without a function, I recommend you to use the sum function. This will help you aggregate your data correctly. If you're wondering what aggregation means, don't you worry, it will simply fix your formula. No questions, okay? So you will use the function summatory to combine this. And as you can see, the formula is Google Ads plus Facebook plus LinkedIn spent divided by the clicks of these three platforms. What is the issue I have with this? If you have been in the other lessons, if I have null values, then it will return null, then the data won't be accurate. So I will create an even more accurate formula. I will show it to you. If I click here, you will see that for every metric, I have the function if null. So if the Google Ads clicks are null, turn them to zero. And then use the function of summatory so I can add it up with the other metrics. I combine the total spend of this channel divided by the total clicks of these channels, and this is how you can calculate your CPC and mostly any metric on Google Looker Studio when blending data. Here is how to create a budget tracking or ad pacing report on Google Looker Studio. In this exercise, I will also show you how to fix a common error when blending data on Looker Studio: missing fields or missing values. For this example, I will combine Meta Ads and Google Ads and LinkedIn by dates. Here's what I have. For Meta, I have data until November 1st. for Google until November 30, and for LinkedIn until November 22. Now, if I combine all these data sources, I will have an issue that maybe you have seen in the past when blending data. If I don't have data, it is not a zero, it is null values. So Facebook has null, Google Ads has $19 of spend, and LinkedIn has null values too. If I want to know my total ad spend for November 30, in theory, it is $19. But actually, what Looker Studio will show is null because 5 plus null is null. And this is not worth it. It is not accurate, and this will affect the accuracy of my reports. And this will affect all the dates across. So, how to fix this? First, to the blended data source I have that combines Meta, Google, and LinkedIn, I will also blend a Google Sheet table like this one, and I will show you how it works. By the way, this Google Sheet template, you will find it in the description of this video. And it is a simple table where I have a single row for every day of a year. So this table brings by date my total budget. This has two purposes. First, I want to combine my actual budget, and second, I want to bring all the dates of a given year. This is important because besides budget, you can also bring your CRM contacts, or you can bring another number or another metric when you don't have a data source available. Blending data with Google Sheets means that you can bring data from any data source even though you don't have a connector available, which is magic. Now, I have this table with date and budget. I will blend it on Looker Studio, and I am not missing any date. As you can see, this table is bringing all the dates of 2024. Why this is important? I will show you. If I go to the data blending or to the blended data source, here is what I have. Again, I am blending by date, and also I am taking the date from the Google Sheet. Make sure that your dates are well formatted so Looker Studio can distinguish this is a date. What is next? From Google Sheet, I am blending by date, and the metric will be budget. Now I can combine them, but I will show you the join types or join operators. The first join between Google Sheets and Meta, the primary key or the main union happens from Sheet. It is the first table I am declaring. This is important because this table from Google Sheets has all the dates. I don't care if Meta ads don't have all the dates because Google Sheets have them. Now I will go to cancel, and I will do the same with Google Ads. The first date I will declare will be Google Sheets because it has all the dates. I won't care if Google Ads has ad spent in all these days. And finally, with LinkedIn, again, the first table is Google Sheets and LinkedIn ads, because this fixes this issue because I don't care now if LinkedIn is missing data because I can cover it with my Google Sheet that has all the data because I can control that. Now I will close this data blending, and you can see how this table is created. I am combining the dates, the ad spend, and the budget from Google Sheet, Meta, and the sources. And now it is time to combine my total budget and my total ad spend. So here, what I have, I am pulling the metric budget in this column so I can compare my total ad spend with my total budget. I could create a formula so I can know the difference and if I am hitting my ideal budget. But how do I calculate my total ad spend? Here is what I do. As I shown in a different exercise, I cannot operate null values because null plus 5 is null. So I need to transform these null values into a 0. And the formula or the function for that is if null. If null says, if LinkedIn spend is null, turn it to 0. And I will do that for every net metric. So I will combine if null of LinkedIn, turn it to 0, plus if null of Meta, turn it to 0, plus if null of Google Ads, turn it to 0. And that's how you can combine your total ad spend across all your channels while you fix all your issues with missing data and also bringing data from other data sources like Google Sheets. Here is how to blend data on Looker Studio, and let's continue with other lessons. I hope you like this lesson. This is the kind of lessons you don't know you need until you are desperate. So if you are watching the video until the end, it's because you were desperate, and I hope this will be super helpful for you and you can sleep tonight. We will create a cross-channel report on Google Looker Studio with Shopify data, Google Ads and Meta Ads, and any ad spend data. This report will help us calculate metrics like CAC, customer acquisition cost, MER, marketing efficiency rate, CPA, cost per acquisition, and ROAS, return on ad spend, or any metric or financial metric that lets us understand the return of investment of our marketing efforts in e-commerce. The data that I will pull for this exercise from Shopify is orders, total sales and customers, from Meta, the ad spend, and from Google, also the ad spend. I need to know that this data is nuanced. Maybe I need to filter it. I need to do many things to calculate it. So this is a great time to tell you that at Porter we have a single connector that blends all this data and automatically get these metrics calculated, so you don't need to follow this tutorial. If you don't want to pay for that, keep watching this tutorial. Sorry. Now, also consider that when you bring your Shopify data, you might want to filter your data. So consider your customer tags. If you want to pull only the orders from B2B customers, this is an option. Also consider the source of these orders. If I want to know the CAC of Facebook, I only need to consider the orders coming from Facebook, not the global orders from my store. Otherwise, the CAC is not calculated correctly. And also the customer type. The customer type is if the customer is new or repeat customer. If I want to know my CAC or customer acquisition cost, I need new customers. If I want to know my CPA or cost per acquisition, I need my orders regardless if they come from new or repeat customers. Now I will combine these three data sources. I will select them all. I will do a right click and I will blend the data. This will create a new table with the blended data sources. As you can see, we have our fields from the separate data sources, and in red, I have my custom formulas. If you see them in red, technically these metrics are wrong, but they are not wrong because the data is working correctly. So don't worry about these red signs. It seems to be a visual bug from Looker Studio that they haven't fixed. And also it says that we are pushing the boundaries of Looker Studio with all this exercise. Now I will show you the data source that we are creating. So I will go to edit data source and we will see that this is a straightforward data blending on Looker Studio where I combine by date Shopify, Google, and Facebook. And the unions or the combinations are the recommended ones. Simply left outer joins where I match the Shopify date with the Google Ads date. Also, the Shopify date with the Meta Ads date, and I named this data source Shopify plus Google plus Facebook. That's everything. Now I will show you in detail how every metric works. You might be wondering why we don't get these metrics directly from Facebook ads, because Facebook ads also reports conversions and ROAS and revenue. The issue is that Meta ads or Facebook ads data never matches Shopify. It is never as accurate. So we want to take the best of both worlds, the revenue and orders from Shopify with the ad spend from Meta and Google. I will start with the CPA or cost per acquisition. The formula in theory is super simple. My total ad spend divided my total orders. Total ad spend from Google and Meta and total orders from Shopify. Now, the difference is that I need several functions to make it work. So I will add total ad spend for Google, total ad spend for Meta, but all of these metrics, I need to use the function sum to aggregate them correctly. And inside the function sum, I need to add another function, if null. This if null function will transform the null values into zeros. If you don't understand what I am saying, I recommend you to go to our other lessons on data blending and null values and understand why this is an issue. But this is what we will do. In the same formula, we are using two functions per metric, the summatory and also the if null. Everything else is the same. It's simply adding ad spend by orders, and that's how we can calculate the cost per acquisition with Shopify data. It is mostly the same with the other metrics. If I want to know my CAC, for instance, CAC is my total ad spend divided by my new customers. But how do I get my new customers? I will go back and I will show you how we can know what of these customers or these orders come from new customers and not repeat customers. So I will go back to the data source, and here below in the data blending, I can add a filter to my Shopify table that only shows new customer data. So I will click on create a filter and I will include only the customer type that is new customers. And with this, now all my Shopify data will be showing only data from new customers, not from repeat customers. I also can include only my data coming from particularly certain campaigns. So I am also filtering the UTM source Facebook, so I get only my sales coming only from Facebook ads. Now here I click on save, and as you can see, this is very nuanced. I didn't publish these filters. I only wanted to show you how they work. I will click on close, and finally I will show you the ACOS. ACOS is advertising cost. The advertising cost is the opposite of the return on ad spend. So return on ad spend is revenue divided by ad spend. ACOS is ad spend divided by revenue. The way to understand return on ad spend is for every dollar on ad spend, I get this amount of revenue. ACOS, the way to read it is what is the percentage of my revenue that I need to distribute to advertising. I will explain this. An ACOS of 20% means that for every $100 I make in sales, I need to spend $20 on advertising. In ROAS, a ROAS of 2 or 200% means that for every dollar I spend on ads, I make $2 on sales. They are the same thing, but you can say both. Don't worry about the metrics in marketing, they mean the same, and you can reflect those metrics I showed you here in Looker Studio. As you can see, I am using the same metrics I am explaining, but with the functions sum and the function if null. And this is how you can create a cross-channel report with Shopify data, with Meta Ads data, with Google Ads, and calculate these financial metrics to know the return ad spend and return on investment on your Shopify and e-commerce stores. I will see you in other lessons of data blending, and I hope you like these tutorials. If you're watching these tutorials until the end, I really appreciate it because I know this is boring, I know this is tedious, this is hard, but I hope this will help you a lot to save a lot of time. So see you, and final reminder, if you don't want to learn any of these things, simply use our blended data connector that automatically combines and matches and calculates all these metrics for you. Power Metrics helps you automatically understand the return investment on your marketing reports, but these tutorials are meant to help you understand all the thought process that we needed to go through to automatically do that, so you don't need to do any of these things. See you in the next video. Here is how to do goal tracking or budget tracking by using data blending on Google Looker Studio. And the data that we will use will be ad spend and conversions from Google Ads or any marketing data source, my goals or my budget from a Google Sheet, and then blending this data together so I can compare the actual versus the target performance. To create a chart like this where I compare my actual conversions with my goals, I will simply show you how I created this data blending. I will select this blended data source, and I am simply matching or tying by date my Google Ads performance data and my Google Sheets data. And I will show you the Google Sheet. The Google Sheet is a simple table where by date I am including all the dates of the year. By date I can track my budget and I can set my goals. If I combine this like this, I will be able to pull this chart. Now, if you want to know more about data blending, remember we have other lessons and tutorials only for data blending on Looker Studio. I will see you in the next lesson. How to do currency conversion on Google Looker Studio with data blending. Let's say I have a Google Ads account in US dollars and I want to report in the most stable currency in the world, the Argentinian peso, of course. So I will connect Google Ads and I will bring the cost metric. In this case, I change the name to ad spend in USD so it is easy to differentiate. Now, I will also connect a table with Google Sheets data where every row has a date and the conversion for that particular date. So for November 30, $1 is equivalent to 1,000 Argentinian pesos. With these two tables, I will blend them together. If you want to know how to blend data on Google Looker Studio, we have other tutorials around this. But once I blend this data, the only thing I need to do with this table is the formula I created. To calculate the currency conversion, I only need to multiply the conversion value from the Google Sheet with the ad spend or the cost of Google Ads. This is everything, and that's how I can get my total ad spend like this time series reported in both US dollars and Argentinian pesos or any currency conversion. How to do this? I will show you how this data blending works. So I will go to this table that I connected, this data source, and this data source is simply combining or blending by date my Google Ads account with this Google Sheet. So I will go to a Google Sheet because Google Ads is simply bringing the cost and the conversions. I only need the cost for this exercise. And the metric I am bringing from the Google Sheet is the conversion value from Argentinian peso to dollar. What is the Google Sheet? I will go to it. This Google Sheet is simply showing by date what is the equivalent value of $1 to Argentinian pesos, and how do I get this data? Simply go to Bloomberg or Google or use ChatGPT and please return the conversions of the Argentinian pesos to dollars, and you will be able to download a CSV file. Maybe you can update it. It is only once, and you can do a currency conversion without paying for a different or expensive tool or doing a more complex setup. Only with this data blending, you can do currency conversion on Google Looker Studio. This is the last example on data blending and regular expressions on Google Looker Studio. With this use case, you will be able to do the most important use case of marketing, calculating your return on investment, and you will see the challenges to do it. Let's say I want to know my profit. To know my profit, I need to understand my total revenue and my total costs. The challenge, of course, is that I need to blend multiple data sources where this revenue and these costs are reported, and also I need to segment this data across all these data sources. For that, we use regular expressions. For blending, we use the data blending on Looker Studio that you have already seen. Now, I will start explaining how you will do the exercise. First, as we have always done, we will take the initial data source, let's say meta ads, and I will segment my data with tagging. Remember that we tag the brands depending that if these brands are present in our naming conventions in our campaign name. So as we have done before, we create a conditional for Facebook ads data that says if the campaign name contains Volkswagen, then tag accordingly. If it contains Uber, tag Uber, and so on. With that, we create this column or this dimension called brand. It is a custom dimension that I can use across any data source. The second table I will create besides this one with meta ads data will be this Google Sheets. I will create a Google Sheet that I use that breaks down by date and also by brand, so the dates can be repeated. I will show you how the Google Sheet looks like, and I will give you a template in the comments of this video. So let me show what I have here. For this Google Sheet, I have a column with date, a column with brand, and I have metrics like cost of goods sold, or for instance, if we don't have a connector like Amazon Ads, you can import it as well on Google Sheets. If, for instance, Power Metrics doesn't have a particular connector that you need, maybe you can import and blend the data through Google Sheets as I am doing in this exercise. I will explain this blending I just created. So let me explain. I am breaking down by brand my total ad spend, my total cost of goods sold, my Amazon ad, and my total aggregated cost, because all of these items are cost. Ad spend, cost of goods sold, and also Amazon ads, they are all expenses. And finally, I calculated the total cost. How the join works? As it has always worked. I will go to edit, and you will see that I am blending by brand the ad spend on Facebook and the other metrics from Google Sheets. Now let me explain you the Google Sheet. Here I need to add a date range because by default when I connect Google Sheets, Looker Studio doesn't understand what is the date range. I need to identify it. Now I will go to a Google Sheet. Let me go there. And this is how you will structure this table. You need to add a column with the date to match the date, and also a column with the brand or with the product. As you can see, I might need to repeat the dates. For instance, I have sales for Valiant on January 1st, and also I have sales for AIG for January 1st. So make sure that maybe you need to repeat dates. But this is the way to segment your cross-channel data, by creating these tags on your Google Sheet. If you already understand left join, you already understand right join as well. In this table, I am doing a right outer join operator, and I will explain it. I will show how it works. I will go again to a data source, and you will see that this time I remove the date. I will only match the brands. This time, the operator will be instead right outer. I will click on cancel, and I will click on close. What is the difference here? I will only show data as soon as it is in the right table or second table. In this case, it is Google Ads. So all the brands I am displaying here must be on Google Ads. AIG is in Google Ads, Uber, Valiant, OpenAI, and Deutsche Bank. I am not presenting, or I am not showing Volkswagen, because this value is only present in Facebook, so I cannot display it. And these two values, for instance, Deutsche Bank and OpenAI, are only present in Google Ads in my right table. That's why I am showing it in the table, but they display as null for meta ads. So as you can understand, the right outer join will declare the values as soon as they are in my right table or second table I declare in my join on Google Looker Studio. If this is clear with left join and right join, now I will explain you inner join. I will see you in the next lesson. Let's understand inner joins. You already know that left outer joins will only show data as soon as they are in the left table or the first table, in this case, Facebook ads. Right outer join is the opposite. It will only show data as soon as it is in the second table. Well, inner joins are more restrictive. You have to have the data in both left and right to show them. As you can see, in this table, I am showing the brands AIG, Uber, and Valiant because these brands are present in both Meta and Google. It's not one or the other, but one and the other. And how it works as the other joins. I will go to edit this blended data source. I will go to edit, and you will see that I am blending my brand. I will choose the condition, and I am blending the brand and using the inner join operator. I will click on cancel, close, and you can see this table where I am combining this with an inner join. In the next lesson, I will show you the full outer join operator. See you in the next lesson. Let's understand the full outer join. Remember the inner join. The inner join is the most restrictive rule because my data should be present on Facebook and on Google. Well, the full outer join is the opposite. The data should be present on Facebook or on Google in order to be displayed in my new table. Let me explain it with this example. AIG is present in Meta and Google, and I can see it there. Null value, I will solve it later, no worries. Uber is present as well in Facebook and Google, and I can see them there, 30,000 and 5,000. Valiant as well, but the magic is here. Deutsche Bank is not present on Facebook, it is present on Google. Besides that, or even though I have this issue, it will still display this data. It will display a null anyways, but it will display the data. Also, it will display OpenAI even though it is not present on Meta. And what about that null value? That null value refers to Volkswagen. And for some reason, Looker Studio didn't display Volkswagen, it displayed null. But as you can see, the full outer join is the least restrictive rule, and because of this, I will recommend you to use this one the most often, even though the left outer is the default option. Now, let's understand the cross join on Google Looker Studio. It is my time to be open and candid with you with the cross join. I can explain you how it works, but not why it works. Let me show you. In this table, I can see that this is self-explanatory. With the cross join, for every brand, this is aggregating the total of the ad spend of the entire table. So the total ad spend on Meta ads is this number, 118K. But it is repeating this total across all these brands. So it is adding up almost 600K. It doesn't make sense. And it does the same behavior with Google. I understand how it works, but I don't know why would you ever use this. This is the cross-join on Google Looker Studio. I will see you in the next tutorials. If there is someone watching this tutorial who understands why you will do that, let me know in the comments because I want to learn. I will show you how to design and white label your Looker Studio reports, and the best way to do it is with some examples with the possibilities that you have. In this first report, as you can see, I can add the logo, the background, the border, I can even change the colors depending on the values in the pie charts, and I am using conditional formatting that depending on the data source name, I can display a different background for the cells. Another example for this report, I can adjust the pie chart and also the time series or the area chart so I can easily spot what data source I am visualizing. And as I can edit the pie charts and the bar charts, I can also edit the tables. Here I can display the images of the data source or the logo of the data source, the images of the post. I can actually change the color, the background color of my table, and adding even a title. So as you can see, the possibilities of customizing my charts are endless, but I will show you another example. This Klaviyo report shows a different color in the background, has a different logo. Actually, I can make the elements consistent across all my pages. You don't need to copy and paste the same logo or the same menu. Actually, I can make these elements report level, so these elements are consistent across all the pages in this report. I can also change the navigation on the pages. As you can see, I have audience acquisition. I can change the styling of my chart. This is a modern chart with a gradient or a bar chart. I can change the color in my bar chart so I can have a different connotation. For instance, unsubscribe is a bad metric or a bad connotation, so it is in red. If I have new subscribers, I can add them in purple so the audience understands quickly what this metric is about. Also, I can use these bar charts to make visually easier to understand the scale of this metric. If I go to a new report after watching this, you will see that I have an image for my funnel. Funnels are beautiful, as I shown in other classes, because they help you understand the relationship between metrics and they show you where, in what part of your funnel, you are missing or you need to optimize. Now, after I see this data with Klaviyo, I can go to this GA4 report example. By the way, if you are wondering how I change the scales or the palettes of the colors, I have some websites that I will reference in the description of this video where you can find inspiration for using different colors on your reports. Here, already you are familiar with this, with funnels, with time series. This is something that we have already seen in another lesson. But what is important that I wanted to show you is that the possibilities are endless. So I have dark backgrounds, I have white backgrounds, I have this HubSpot report, I have this beautiful time series. So as you can see, it's impressive. This is the final example I want to show you. If you want to show the relationship between multiple metrics, I think these workflows are beautiful. And everything that I am doing is simply drawing lines. I can actually use lines in my Looker Studio reports. With these examples, here is the introduction on how to design and white label your reports on Looker Studio. I will see you in the next lessons. One of the easiest ways to design your Looker Studio dashboards is with images and text, and I will show you some examples. Here, I will click on image, upload from computer, and I will paste it right here as a header. I will do the same for a footer. So I will go to image, upload from computer, and now paste this footer. This is simple Canva designs, and I can do the same with my logo. So I will add the image, upload from computer, and I will add my company logo, and finally also a funnel template event. So upload from computer and the funnel. By the way, we created on Figma and on Canva a set of hundreds of funnel designs so you can add them on your Google Slides or Looker Studio reports and presentations so they look better. I will send you a link in the description of the video so you can access to these resources. Here I already added this funnel and the rest is super simple. I will add some text. So in text, I will paste it right here and I will call this stage visibility. I will make this text bigger, 40 pixels is okay, and I will make it bold. I will center this text and I will copy and paste and I will change this for engagement, and the final stage of my funnel is conversion. Now I only need to add a chart here like a scorecard, and that's how you can design your Google Looker Studio reports with images, logos, funnels, headers, and footers. I hope you like this tutorial. Let's customize the menu and the navigation of our Looker Studio dashboard. To get started, I will click on page 2 of 8. So I am in the second page in a report with 8 pages currently, and I will click again and I will edit these pages. First, I will edit this page, I will rename it, and I will call it cross-channel performance. The first page, I want to edit it as well, and I will select an icon, and I will use this campaign icon and apply. I will also add an icon to the second page. So click on Edit, select icon, and choose the stack bar chart and apply. Now I will show you sections. I can use sections to group my pages. For instance, a section for SEO, a section for social media, and a section for paid performance. So I will create this section, I will drag and drop here, and I will add an icon and I will rename it. So click on edit, rename, and I will call this section stylic, just for example. And after I select the icon, I will use this dashboard icon and apply. Now I will drag and drop all the pages I want within this section. What is next? I will show you how it looks like for the end user. If I go to the menu, now I have a drop down, a section, and if I click here, I will be able to display the pages within the section. There is a page that I don't want. I don't want to have shapes here, but I don't want to eliminate it either. So I will click on edit for this page and I will click on hide in view mode. So I will hide it. And finally, to change the navigation of my Looker Studio report, I will add a header. So the header here, I can drag and drop it in the top and I will call it marketing performance. I am almost done. I will drag and drop also the shapes page below so I don't need to see it in the edit mode, and I will go to a view mode. In the view mode, you won't see the shapes page, and also you will see the header and also the sections. So I think we are done with this navigation, but I can also change the styling, the colors, and the background. Let me show you how to do it. I will go back to edit and I will go to theme and layout. On theme and layout, go to customize. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you will see the option page navigation style. First, I will change the font of this menu. The first change will be this purple. The second font for the non-selected text will be also this purple, but it is darker. And the background will be this pink. And if I click here, you will be able to see a very manly and masculine menu on your Looker Studio reports. I will see you in the next lesson. Here is the report level feature on Google Looker Studio. Let's say we just created this page on our dashboard, and if I want to create a new page on our report, I need to add the logo and the header and the date range again for every page I create. Or maybe not, I can do this. I can go back to a page I had created already. I can select the elements I want to keep in all my report pages. I will select them, I will do a right click, and I will select make report level. With that, I will select a new page, and these elements will be fixed across all the pages on my reports. This is how you can create and make elements report level on Google Looker Studio. Let's add reference lines in our time series or bar charts in our Looker Studio reports. I will go to Style, I will select reference line, and the first type will be a constant value. I will set $2 million of daily ad spend as a target. I will call it a miserable average budget for any business. The label will be target, and I will display the value of the label so I can see that every day I should spend only $2 million on advertising. I will change this line color, I will make it purple, and I will add a second reference line. This time, this second reference line won't be a constant value, instead will be a metric. And by default, it will take one of the metrics in my time series. It is setting the ad spend, and the ad spend is displaying or aggregating by average. So I can see my target ad spend and my average ad spend. And this is how you can add reference lines on your Looker Studio charts. See you in the next lesson. Here is how to add conditional formatting on Google Looker Studio. Conditional formatting is great because it makes your data easier to read. In these examples, I am using conditional formats for both dimension values and metrics. In metrics, I am using a scale where I want to highlight the highest numbers, like the highest ad spend in red. And for dimensions, I want to add colors to add more context. For instance, TikTok is black, Facebook is blue, LinkedIn is boring blue, and so on. So I will create these conditional formats. Here I will select this table and I will go to style, then go to conditional formatting, and I will select a field. The field that I will use is the data source. And if the data source contains TikTok, now the rule is that this particular cell will be black and the font will be blue, and click on save. And with this, you already know how to do the rest. I will go to add, select field, then the data source contains Facebook, and if Facebook for that particular cell, make it blue, and done. The font will be white, save, again, style, add, select field, blended data source, select a condition, contains, input value will be linked in this time, and for this cell, it will be boring blue. And done and save. So you already know how to create conditional formatting with single values. So I will click on save, and now I will continue with scales. This is different for this metric, so I will add a different conditional format. Instead of single color, I will do it with color scale, and I will select the field, it will be the ad spend. So first I can switch the scale. I can say that the first color is actually, or the lowest color is actually green, and the highest color is red, because in this time I want to express ad spend as a bad thing, so it should be in red. So I will switch this. The first color will be this green that I like. The second color will be this yellow or orange. Done. And the final color will be red. Actually, I can add a fourth color, like an orange, to have a better scale. So I will add the percentage 75% for this scale. I will add this orange. I will click on save. And here's how you can create conditional formats on your Google Looker Studio reports. Here is the quickest hack to design your Looker Studio dashboards, simply copy pasting styling. Let me show you. I will do right click in this table and I will copy. And then I will do right click in this other table and I will do paste special, paste style only. And here's how you can change the styling of all your charts at scale without additional settings. A very easy way to make your marketing dashboards more visual on Google Looker Studio is with shapes like lines, squares, or circles. In this example, I could use a line to draw a driver tree or a metric tree map or however you call it, where I can draw the relationship between metrics. And this visualization is very useful because it shows that my data is both strategic and tactical. Strategic when it is global, like the total sales, and tactical when my metric is very specific. And while I was saying all of this about Treemaps, I created it. Now I will show you another shape. Instead of a line, I could draw, for instance, a square. So I will paste it right here, and it is gray. I don't like it. I will change the color. It will be this purple. Maybe I will change it again, so I will make it gray. I will make it purple again, but I will send it back. So here the order will be sent to back. Now it will be in the back, and in the front it will be my driver tree. And here is how you can add shapes and lines to your Looker Studio dashboards to make them more visual. Let's customize our Looker Studio dashboard's theme and layout. I will click here on theme and layout and you will see some standard templates for our theme. This white, this gray, this black, and this brown, for instance. As you can see, we are changing the background colors and also the chart colors, but I will go back to the initial one because I want to customize it. So I will click here, then I will click on customize, and I will change the report background. This time I will make it this purple, and it is terrible and ugly, but it is not my only problem. If I go to other pages, these changes will affect all the pages on my report. So I will revert this change. I will go back to page 2 of 10. I will go back to the initial page I was working on. And here I will change again. So theme and layout, customize, and the background will be again for the entire report for all the pages. It will be this pink. By the way, I don't know if this is pink, but I will say it is pink during the tutorial, okay? Here, I want to change only this page background color. So I will go to page and current page settings. For this particular page, I will zoom this out and I will go to style. I have some settings I can customize. For instance, the page background and also the page size. I will explain this. If I go to page background and I set it white, this change will only affect this particular page. The standard size of all the pages in my report are the width 1200 and the height are 1000. I will change it to 1100. Now, this page in particular is changed. Now I want to modify the elements or the charts on my Looker Studio report. So I will go back to theme and layout, customize, and you will see all the options to customize your report. But here I will go to component, background, and border. First, I will change the background. The background instead will be this purple. So the chart's background or the component background will be this purple. I will make this border rounded, and finally I will add a border color. So I will make it purple and the thickness will be 1. And as you can see, it will affect all the components or my dashboard. This is how you can customize your themes and layouts on Google Looker Studio. Let's customize the layout of our Looker Studio report. First, I will go to theme and layout, I will choose layout, and the first change is the header visibility. By default, I have always show. I will go to view, and I can see the header, dashboard design as title, and the edit button. But if I change it, so I will go back to theme, layout, and the visibility now will be initially hidden. I will go to view, and I cannot see the header anymore. I don't like it, but there is an example. I only need to hover on the top of this page and I can see again the button edit. I will go again to theme and layout, and the next change is the navigation type. As you can see, the menu is in the left, but I will change it to tab. Now my pages are here in the top. I can see all the pages of this report, but I will change it back to left because I prefer it most of the times. Now, if I enable this respect report theme and I make this report or the display fit to width and I remove the margin of the report, I will show you now how our report looks like. I have no margin, which if you ask me, I prefer because now the entire page belongs to a report and there is no white space or something. And there is something that we are doing as well. If I change the size of this page, or if, for instance, I want to display the menu, I can see it here. But also, if you want to open this report from a mobile, now I can see this. This is interesting because this is the most similar thing to make your Looker Studio dashboards mobile friendly. This is not responsive, but at least it is mobile friendly. I will go back to edit to show you some of the settings that I can modify in the layout. So theme and layout. And finally, this is the most important one I will say, is the width and the height of my pages. If I change it from here, all the pages in my report will be changed, the size will be changed, but I can change it at the report level and also at the page level. I will go to the page level. So I will go to page, current page settings, and if I don't want to change all the pages but only this one, I will go to style, and for this particular page, I can change the width and the height. And this is how you can change the layout of your Looker Studio reports. To align and organize your charts on Looker Studio, simply select them all and do a right click, and you will find the option align vertically or align horizontally. I will choose align vertically and click on middle. And here is how you can organize all at once your charts on Looker Studio. Here is how to use modern charts on Looker Studio. When I was recording this tutorial, they rolled out this tiny but neat feature. If I go to theme and layout and enable the modern charts option, there will be more features and settings I can modify in my charts. For instance, in this time series, I could go to style and set a gradient for this particular chart. Also for my pie charts, I could say, for instance, to reduce the slice padding and also change the border radius. And here is how you can make your Looker Studio designs more modern. Finally, I will show you how to share your Looker Studio reports with your clients, team, manager, whatever. So here, if I click on this dropdown in the share button, you can see my options. I can invite people through their emails. This is a classic Google Docs or Google Sheets style where I can type the particular emails I want to grant access as editors or viewers to the report. I can schedule an email to a client. I can say, for instance, hey, every Monday at 8 a.m., I want to send this report to my client. I also can share through links and also download a PDF version of this report if you don't want to make your report interactive and your client prefers a PDF version. And if you want to go more advanced, you can actually embed this report on your website, on your Notion, or in any web page, so it doesn't look like Looker Studio, it looks more like your own reporting tool. I will see you in our next classes on how to share your Looker Studio reports. Links are the fastest way to share your Looker Studio reports. To find them, simply go to the dropdown besides share, click on get report link, and optionally enable or disable the link to the current report view. I will simply copy this link, and that's how you can share your Looker Studio reports. To automate the email delivery of your marketing dashboards on Google Looker Studio, go to the dropdown on Share, click on Schedule Delivery, and type the emails that you want to send this report to. Now I can customize the email subject and message. As subject, I will type, for instance, weekly marketing performance, and also for message, I can type something like, hi, client A, here is our marketing report, for instance. Now I can select the pages I want to send. I could send them all, or maybe I can choose a few of them like channel analysis and PPC funnel. Finally, I will set a start time. I can start to send these reports from tomorrow or from today, and I will start to send them at 9 a.m. Now I can choose a cadence. I could send these reports every week, every day, every month, so I could choose something like weekly or daily, and I will click on save. Finally, I will show you an example of an email sent from Looker Studio. As you can see on my email, I can see the title, I can see that I am the person who is sending this email, my Google user, and I can see a preview of the Looker Studio report. And if I scroll down, I can find a PDF version of this same report. Here is how you can share your Looker Studio reports on email. You can download a PDF version of your Looker Studio reports, but why would you do that? Maybe older generations prefer PDF over an interface, or the marketing team or agency don't want to make the report interactive, or potentially the most popular use case is I don't want these reports to break during my presentation. A PDF is a report that never breaks, so I can use it. To create a PDF, I will go to my dashboard and I will click on the drop down besides share. Here, I will click on download report and I can select all the pages or only download specific pages. I will select the pages and I will only select this one. I will click on download report and here is an example or a PDF report from Google Looker Studio. You can embed your Looker Studio reports on a website, a Notion, and intranet. This will make feel your reports more like proprietary technology and not an external tool like Google Looker Studio. To embed your reports, I will go to File, then I will select Embed Report, and I have two options of embedding. One is with embedded code, and another one is with URL. If you use a URL in your browser, it will show full screen with no paddings, no borders, nothing. It is like this page is only a Looker Studio report. This time, I will select though the embedded code. And for instance, I can also turn off to view the navigation of the report so you only show a particular page on it. I will turn this off, I will select embed code instead, and I will change the size of the report that I will display on a website. The width now will be 1200, and I will copy this script into my clipboard. Here on my WordPress website, I can paste this code right here, and as you can see, I can display this Looker Studio on my website. If I click on publish and I see a preview on my website, the dashboard will look like this. This is how you can embed your Looker Studio reports on your websites or anywhere. You can enable a draft mode on Looker Studio, so you can do changes that people won't notice until you publish them. Let's say I'm working on this dashboard and I want to change temporarily the title of it. I want to call it Marketing Dashboard Draft. The issue is that if I go to the view mode or the published mode, people will see these changes. I want to avoid that. So I will go to edit. I will change back again the title that I had. I will go to file, then go to publish settings, and I will enable or I will turn on the manual report publishing. Here, once I turn this on, I will click on save and you will see that I'm the draft version or the draft mode on Looker Studio. If I do the changes in the title again, as you can see it here, and if I go to a view mode, now these changes are not visible until I publish them. And this is how you can use the draft mode on Google Looker Studio. You can find the changes history on your Looker Studio reports so you don't miss anything and you don't waste any time. If I go to edit and after you enable the publishing settings, you will see draft version, and if you click there, you will see version history. Here you will find all the changes that you have done to your reports, and actually I can rename them. Let's say I just changed the name of this report or the title of this report, and now it is called Marketing Dashboard Draft. So I will rename it so I know that I did that change. Click here on the ellipsis icon, rename, and it will be called draft title. But I want to reverse all the changes from yesterday. So here I will find these changes at this time and I will publish and I will restore this new version. Now my dashboard has a past version and I can keep it. But what about if I want to revert these changes to my latest version of my dashboard? Here, I can choose again the draft title, I can enable it again, and I can restore this version. And here's how you can do version control on Google Looker Studio.